All right. What's up, everybody? How you doing out there? Welcome back to the show. This is last week's fights. My name is Thinker St. James, and tonight we are going over each and every fight from UFC Fight Night, Imavov versus Borralho, and Dana White's Contender Series Week 4, taking a look at Noche UFC, which is Diego Lopes versus John Silva. And to do all of that with me, as always, the man, the myth, the legend, a man who enjoys some escargot, a baguette, and some violence, Mr. Chase Parton. How are you, sir?
Dude, we are good. It's a Monday. We had fights on Saturday and we had fights on the previous Tuesday. So it's obviously a good day to talk about some fights and there was some good stuff going on. I'm ready to go and I'm actually really pumped.
We got a lot to talk about today. There was some interesting stuff on the Contender Series this last week. Obviously, Paris was a really entertaining card. So we got a whole lot to unpack today. If you are new to this program, hanging out for the live stream, we're going to be going over each and every fight from these two cards. If you got something that you want to talk about in the chat that is not pertaining to the fight that we're talking about at the time, throw it in the chat. Remind us a little later in the stream, and we will circle on back to it. To get started, was there anything that you wanted to go over before we got into the Contender Series? Because I think that we can probably just jump right into that if you're ready.
Well, actually, I had a brief thing that I can mention, if since you asked, of course.
Sure, of course.
So on Friday, there was a one Friday Fights card in the morning. I
Hmm.
was unable to make that one, unfortunately, but there was another Friday Fights card, which would have been their Saturday morning. And there was another fight card that had two women headlining for a belt. A woman actually had two belts at the time. She was a two sport champion kind of deal, and it was a 5 round war. I mean, this card was. I mean, you want to talk about what we're going to go into with the France card and the Contender Series. I mean, this was packed full of finishes as well, and they were always. I mean, listen, these guys go to war, so when you see a finish, it is at like the brink of death. So these guys go out, and it's kind of crazy to see sometimes. And then, like I said, the women for the belt, like that was definitely something to see. You guys missed out a really good one.
Yeah, absolutely. I was in your chat for that, and it was quite a good card. I know it was Jackie Bunton was the one, and then I forget what the name Stella Hemmetsberger. I want to say was.
That is very close. If you wow, you are very good with a memory. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, something along those lines, I believe. And then, sadly to say, I think that it was a little bit of a robbery in that main event. If we're being honest,
Mhm.
Jackie, she did get dropped several times early on, but she held her own and was doing some really nice damage later on in that fight. And Stella was all kinds of bloodied up. So
Yeah,
yeah.
especially because they judge those fights as a whole over there instead of by round. So it was pretty crazy that at the beginning of the fight, that a drop. It wasn't even multiple. It was just one basically that was able to carry the momentum through the fight, which I don't really agree with because I mean, like you said, like she was busted up by the end of it. Like she really got her opponent back in the striking, and it was kind of crazy to see the judging go the other way. To be fair, but it is what it is. We've seen worse.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, plenty, and some of which we might be talking about soon here. So, yeah, no, the one card was really cool. Awesome that they double up like that. I mean, obviously it's the day after for them, but cool having one card on a Friday night and then one on a Saturday night as well, right?
And it's awesome. And you know what I like about it too? In that particular case, when there's two, if you have Friday off, if you are somebody that really gets to bask in the glory of one and have Friday, you can have it's basically like two UFC cards split up. Because they're a lot shorter, a lot more condensed. Same amount of fights, but a lot less fight time compared. Muay Thai's 3 round, 3 minutes kind of deal instead of five, and so it moves a little quicker, but it's a little refreshing to get done after just like a quick sitting, and then you can go hang out about your day, and then me specifically, I worked, of course, but like in that case, you could have just hung out for another portion of your day, and then at night got ready for some fights again. Have a little breakfast fight, get a little dinner fight, and call it a day. Like that's a good Friday.
Yeah, gotta love it. And that reminds me, and I know that this is something that I think you mentioned on that stream, but it's been a conversation going on in the community now about how the structure of events are going to be after the Paramount deal with the UFC, because a lot of times now we've got these 7-hour events, and a lot of that is due to selling advertising and contractual obligations and things things like that. But the pacing is almost glacial at times. I mean, it's like they have a large block of time to fill, and there's a lot of downtime, especially when there are as many knockouts as there were on this card that we're going to be talking about tonight. So we're going to have to see if that changes at all with this new Paramount deal, considering they got a boatload of money to go over to Paramount. And there is a paid version that has no ads and a paid version with ads, how that's going to play in. A lot of questions left to be answered as far as this deal goes. But hopefully, for all of our sakes, if they can bring those times down just a little bit, because it really is. I mean, 7 hours worth of fights. It's a lot for anybody. I mean, we're super fans over here. And if we're saying it, then I can only imagine for the average fan.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
No, I definitely agree with you. One was awesome, and I'm very happy that we got to experience at least a portion of what it was.
Absolutely. Yeah, most definitely. It was a fun card. I enjoyed that I was able to hang out with you for that one.
Thank you. I
All right.
appreciate that, by the way. Anybody else in the chat? Hey, we are watching fights. Thinker's going to start making his rounds about there. So I appreciate
Yeah,
him.
absolutely, absolutely. So let's get into some of these fights that we watched for this dealy here. This is week 4 of the Contender series that just went down, and this was an entertaining one. This I would say this week of the Contender series was what the Contender series is all about, really. I mean, like, this is one, it has had some unfortunate moments, we'll get into those, but like as far as like the heart of the fighters and the quality level of the competition, I was like, this is what you want out of the Contender series.
I definitely agree. When I went to work, because I be at work telling people like, "Hey, Tuesdays, you guys got to catch this show. It's really fun." And then after the first week, I was like, "Yeah, you probably shouldn't have caught that one." Second week, I was like, "That one was okay, but you probably still shouldn't have wasted your time with it." Kind of deal. You wouldn't have got the full vibes. Week 3 was decent, but this one, yeah, you are absolutely right. The first fight of the night sets the tone for what you're about to get, and it's just awesome. So,
Absolutely.
love to see it.
Yeah, well, let's jump right into it here. So, starting off this card was Tommy McMillan versus David McGoyan. Tommy McMillan, of course, is a training partner of Sean O'Malley, and it shows 100% in this guy's appearance, because he is a little bit of a character. He's got some tattoos that are. I mean, they're not, the ink is not bad and all over. Like, I would say that the work is not bad, but what he has is kind of a little on the nose, as far as like he's a bit of a wannabe gangster, maybe. I don't know the guy too well, so I can't really speculate on it. But that's how he comes off with his big shaggy fro, that he's got going on, and all of these tattoos all over the place.
I would like to, well, before I get into the main thing about it, the tattoo thing, I do want to talk about it. The Scarface, really cool idea, because in the Discord, our main thing, there's a gif of the Scarface picking up the phone, talking to his buddy, and flipping the money around. That's one of the biggest things we use. So when we saw that, he was like an instant legend. Like, dude, if he had the phone called me, dude, he'd be killer. But anyway, and then also, I didn't catch it at first because I'm fading out of my element here. The other tattoo that he has, the Legends Never Die, that is a Juice World tattoo. He's got the car and like
Oh
the
my
flame on.
God.
So shout out to Juice World,
Yeah,
RIP. But
I used to think that Peyton Talbot was the knockout zoomer. I think it might be Tommy McMillan, if he can, get himself a knockout. Which
so so with that being said, also when before this fight started, I heard all week, this is Sean O'Malley's boy. This is him. He's gonna sub him. He's one of the best grapplers like that they've ever worked with. He's just this kid. Blah 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 blah. I find out he's literally just from some random state in America. Like he's not on the regional scene. Like he's just like, I forget what state it was, but he's just from some tournaments and some states. But anyway, and then when Sean O'Malley was in his corner, I'm like, big time hater. Like this dude, yeah, I can't wait for Sean O'Malley to look like a goofball. Like, what are you doing there? Go fucking train, dude. Like, I know you can't. Can you not train without Tim there? Like, go get on a treadmill. I don't care. Play the TV and go do something. Lift weights. Like,
he's
I'm being.
supporting this boy. I
I
mean,
mean, I get it, but like, bro, who? Get him a real coach. Like, Tim Welch
well,
is a real coach. Like,
I mean,
but
that's
anyway,
somewhat
but anyway,
questionable, perhaps. I don't know.
we could talk about that. We are definitely going to talk about it. Tim Welch, though, again, I've been hating so much on this dude. Like he's got one prospect, and it's Sean O'Malley, and it's just an outlier. Like that's all I'm saying to it. He's just an outlier. So I have yet to see another one come from Tim Welch being on the sideline with him, kind of deal. So when this fight started, Mogoyan was beating the living hell out of McMillan here, and I
Yeah.
was loving it. I'm like, this is the fucking guy. Like I told you, like absolutely, this is the fucking guy that you guys picked. No way in hell. McMillan is cooked. He obviously gets almost submitted. We'll talk about that a little more in depth here in a second. But the fight goes on. Second round, it is close. I will give the second round close, but you obviously give David McGoyan upon replay 10-8 first round. No fucking chance is it not. It is 10-8 first round. Second round, very close, but I still gave it to McGoyan. Like I really thought he was still winning the fight. Third round, third round was still close. Like it wasn't like McMillan really had this like crazy comeback. Like he did, but like it was still very close. They both were very tired, and he definitely fought till the end longer. Like he didn't shell up at the end, if that's what you want to go for, sure. But I still thought that was close. The fact that they gave Tommy McMillan the win here, majority decision, is pretty crazy, but I don't know that in the moment I really liked McGoyan, and I still really do. Like if you get this dude one treadmill, he's going crazy in the UFC because he's just very skilled. McMillan though, I feel like him having some hype behind him and he's got Sean O'Malley in his corner. They were like, oh, that third round really sold it. Like it wasn't really that he won two other rounds. This is just in the case, like same with like Mick Debek and Rebechki kind of deal. It's like that one big third round, or Zellhuber and the other guy is a better example. Goddamn, Rebavic. Sorry, I forgot
Yeah.
his name. I feel like a bad guy for that, but
Very good.
the third round just really steals the fight sometimes. We talk about that, but McGoyan is really good. McMillan definitely a Chad, but in all honesty, I do not think that he won off rip. So I want to hear what you say about that actually.
Yeah, I it's a tough one on that because I didn't think in the moment. This is one that I wasn't able to go back and rewatch all of these fights, so I'm only going off my first impression. But in the
Hmm.
moment, I did not feel like it was a 10-8 round. I know that a lot of people did. I know that a lot of, and that's I had heard it a whole bunch from a bunch of places. So I was like, okay, maybe I just wasn't as in it. Chat was going, all that kind of stuff, whatever.
In the
But
moment, I
yeah,
did not think 10-8, but on rewatch, I said,
okay.
oh, for sure. No way is it not. So go ahead.
Fair, fair. I think it was a lot of because I felt like he was escaping a lot and that like I think that throughout the course of the round, it felt like he might have been doing more than just escaping, but it might have been just escaping. You know what I mean? Because yeah, and actually shout out to the Mank because that guillotine that he was in was ridiculous. I was like, that is insane that he was able to escape that. So I think that there might have been just an element of like, wow, this guy really got through the fire in that first round. So like cool, I guess, right? Like you kind of give him a little bit more credit than maybe he deserved.
Yeah.
But yeah, so but those the second, you're definitely right. I thought for sure that McGoyan was going to get well, we're not going to give him a contract, but if someone drops out, he'll be the first on the list kind of thing. That's why I
Hmm.
really thought that he was going to get some kind of recognition. I think that Dana said something about being impressed by him as well. So hopefully McGoyan will come back and get another
Oh,
shot.
oh, you don't know exactly what he said. Listen, I know exactly what he said
What do you
because
say?
this is perfect for what the Contender Series is about, and any fight really. And this is what you'd love to see coming from contenders. The other fight that I can tell you from Contender Series, this reminded me of Danny Silva and Angel Pacheco. These guys will come in here and put a fucking war on. Like you said, that choke, nasty. I don't even know how he was still able to get leverage at that position, and his hand was just stuck at one point, which was crazy. He was able to get his head free. But anyway, these are the performances. Dana White said both of these guys are where they should be after a fight like that in the fucking hospital. Like
Yeah,
these, dude.
yeah. I
And
remember that now you say
he
it.
definitely said both of these guys are coming back for sure. Like I can tell you, the no way. The same thing with Angel Pacheco. You can lose the fight, but if you go out there and just give it hell, kid. Like dude, he really just respects that. And shout out to McGoyan, man. I mean, the L was not deserved in my opinion, but this ain't a bad L to take. I mean, dude, you are gonna be a fucking killer here soon.
Yeah, yeah, he did great. I thought that he looked really, really sharp. I hope that he gets another shot at it. And yeah, I'm sure that we'll see him. He might be one of those ones that ends up getting that treatment that I talked about. Regardless, he might just be able to skip the line after a performance like that. So
Yeah.
we'll see. But yeah, McMillan. I mean, definitely tough. You got to give him credit where credit is due there because he went through a lot of hell to pull that out after the first round. He was really, really taking a lot of damage.
I'm glad you actually brought it up because his post fight speech actually, you know, he is a really cool guy. Sometimes you really just like you said, this is their audition on the mic. You know, sell me what I'm what I'm getting. So I when he got on the mic with Laura, after you see a fight like that, right? And then you actually get the you're gonna have to kill me in this ring, you know, for me to stop. It's like I genuinely kind of believe it now. Like that's the performance that makes you think like, dude, what if he did just break his neck? Like he was just not gonna care. Like he just did not give a shit. Like so you know, you see a lot of people do that shit, man. They come out here and they get a first round knockout, never get touched, and they're like, you're gonna have to kill me in this fucking ring, you know. No. Tommy McMillan, though, Tommy Gunn right here. I know I said I thought you lost, but true fan you have made right here. I don't care, dude. Everybody was a fan before you even stepped in the cage because they know who you're, you know, friends with, and they see your Instagram post with your fucking with your hose. So listen, Tommy Gunn made a fan, and it's not because of all that extra shit. He did it genuinely with what he does in the cage, and I hope if he sees the clip, he understands that that means more than any of that other BS. So
I no, I agree, and I would say the same thing. Honestly, I mean, you know, it's constantly being thrown in my face how old I am at this point because this dude does like jump off the screen as like you know the prototype of you know Gen Alpha or whatever. Like he's you know obviously he's of a different era than me, but you can't deny what he did in the cage, and that's exactly what you need to do, and that's what this sport is fucking built on in general. That's all. The rest of everything else is just a bunch of side fluff. What you do in the cage is all that really matters, and you see his buddy is a great example, Sean O'Malley. You see what happens when you stop doing that in the cage. You see how quickly the stock changes and how your perception changes almost instantly. So what he did in the cage in that fight is all that really matters to me, and it was definitely impressive. I was very impressed with the toughness, the tenacity, the stick to itiveness against a really tough opponent. So this was a great first fight here.
absolutely, and I just again I want to give a big shout out to Tommy McMillan, and I really hope you and your hose had a really good night.
That
So
was definitely funny. Him in the middle, just line of you know, kind of mid level mid level call ladies, perhaps. I don't know. Maybe they're just his friends.
I did the
Um,
quotations, guys. Those were
Yeah,
not my
yeah.
words, you know.
There were air quotes around that if you're just listening. But
Yes.
yeah, the only last thing that I have to say about this guy, and again, go just one last note about the tattoos. Do you know what he has tattooed on the back of his one arm?
Is it the cheat codes?
It
Yes.
is. He's got the Grand Theft Auto Infinite Ammo cheat code. I was like, that I can actually get behind. That's pretty
You know
awesome.
what's even the worst part about it? Because, you know, showing your age is key to this conversation here. That's a Pinterest tattoo idea. Like that's just what people get on Pinterest and like cool tattoo ideas. Like no, there's like NBA players who have that same shit. Like it's whatever, you know.
Well,
So
fair enough. I thought he had a Cars car tattooed on his. I know you
that's
told me it's Juice World
it's
now,
the
but
Juice World album logo, like
okay,
the
fair.
album
Yeah,
cover.
I legitimately thought it was Lightning McQueen. Uh,
Yes.
all right. Anyway,
He was on fire, you know, so whatever.
right
Lightning
on.
is hot. So
Yeah, right. Well, yeah. Shout out to Tommy McMillan, though. Good win there. Moving on to the next one here. This is Antoine Ho versus Eduardo Chapolin. Now, Chapolin is a guy that we saw very recently on The Ultimate Fighter. He was one of the contestants on The Ultimate Fighter, did not win on The Ultimate Fighter. Now on the Contender Series, giving this guy another shot. I don't know what Chapolin has done to get himself in such good graces with the organization to have back-to-back shots like this, but has the fight here with Antoine Ho. And really, this was actually a pretty spirited competition between these two, but the story of the fight is not the fight, unfortunately. It is Gary fucking Copeland, the referee, who made some of the worst blunders in this one that was really imaginable. This and one we'll talk about coming up.
yeah. No, this fight was actually pretty unfortunate because it was a great fight. But the reason, like you said, the story was not the fight. It was the officiating and it was the matchmaking too. Because Antoine, dude, this guy, he got a chance in the contender series last time and he took his first loss ever in a really bad knockout to Lonnie Kavanaugh. They give him a return redemption arc against somebody who's literally got more experience than him and knows a lot more than him, you know whatever you want to say, and then you blatantly have the officiating against him. You get him in the worst position ever, compromised after that. And to be fair, shout out to him. He shook off a knee to the fucking head like a bee. He didn't react one bit, but like, to be fair, like, we can understand, like, he was definitely hurt after that. Like, it's an illegal move for a reason, because that's how one of them is how quickly a fight can change, kind of deal. And he took a headbutt that cut him open, and then he took a knee to the head. Okay, bad officiating. Then we go to the fucking, next round, and everybody, and I mean everybody, it's bad. Listen, when Marcel, the fight reporter, he gets on Twitter and will, comment about shit like this. And when it came out of the second round and nothing was done after the clear miss that the ref had, where he's looking right at the fucking fighters and he can't see a knee get thrown to the fucking head. And he even goes to the officiating team, and they even tell him things, and then he starts the fucking round right back up. And Marcel is tweeting, no point being taken, like nothing, no, like, just continue on, which is pretty crazy because it definitely affected the end of the round. And then, like the commentators are saying, if it's not deemed an illegal move, it's going to have to count on or does it? I mean, you would assume so. I mean, it got him to the ground, and it put him in a compromised position, whatever you want to say. So the judges probably gave Eduardo the first round. And then that's unfortunate to the rest of the story, because there was another bad call that I'm blanking on later in this fight, but the round two was close. Round three was also close, but you give this dude a fucking headbutt and a concussion, you know, and then tell him he lost the fight. I mean, it's just a really fucked up story for somebody who was already in their second run in the Contender Series. You just
Yeah.
screwed him out of, like, his opportunity for another one, because 30-27 is ridiculous. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah, most definitely that. I mean, in the yeah, like based on what you're saying, absolutely it is. But unfortunately, it really does change the entire trajectory thereafter, and that, like, what you actually got out of the fight probably was a 30-27. But you're right. I mean, that's, obviously you see that the whole course of everything has changed. So how can you really count that is what that comes down to. I want to say two things about this. One, uh, it's the fact that Gary Copeland was looking directly at it that really bothered me the most. Like,
mhm.
Obviously not taking the point, that is bad. You could have taken the point between rounds, chose not to. I don't know why. I think that there was just poor officiating overall. What?
Can I interrupt you and say why I think it was necessary? I think we should have a brief discussion on why it should or shouldn't have been necessary right there. The reason I think it should have been is because he went to the replay. He said, okay, blatant foul. I missed it, but, like, something has to be done. You literally got away with a foul, and we're witnessing you cheat. That's what we have the replay for. Like, that's what it exists for. So I think that is, as a ref, you got to have some balls. Set yourself aside. Be the ref that doesn't stand for bullshit. When Gary Copeland's in the cage, like, no, we can't get away with. Forgot I can't throw a knee to a guy
Oh
who's,
yeah, no,
you
no,
know.
absolutely, it should have been. I mean, like, because you think about it in terms, I forget what the guy's name is. It was on the Shanghai card, that blatant knee to Kiefer Crosby.
Mhm.
I forget the guy that threw that knee, but we were talking about it there. I mean, that was a 2 point deduction. This was a knee that was, in my estimation, not too far off from that. I mean, like, it wasn't as, like, run gun with it. Like, he wasn't necessarily, like, doing it full on intentionally like that one was, but it was close enough, man. I mean, like, it was full on impact to the face. So yeah, you take the point at that point. I mean, it's a trajectory changing event in the fight. And like you said, after looking at it on replay and acknowledging that it's an illegal move, of course you take the point. I mean, like, it changes the entire course of the fight. So yeah, I agree. It definitely should have been. And you were looking right at it in the first place. Why didn't you stop the action and actually officiate?
I feel like, and when I see stuff like this, is because, with the Kiefer Crosby thing, okay, he just gets knocked out immediately, no big deal, and then they say fuck off to him backstage, and he doesn't get any medical attention at all. That's
Heard
that's
about
that's
that.
just what
Yeah.
happens. But, Antoine here, he doesn't get knocked out, but then he still ends up going to lose a 30-27 just because he was man enough to go through it. I think we gotta have stricter rules. As soon as you throw an illegal strike, fingers to the eyes, unless you're raking at this dude, like, unless you are fucking him up. Like, illegal strikes, though, that they are illegal. If he's down, I don't know, bro. Just don't fucking knee him in the head. Like,
I know. Yeah, no. I mean, there probably should be like levels to it and like severity being taken into consideration. It's a hard thing because it's so subjective and it's a big spectrum as to well, was it that severe? Was it as severe as this thing? Yada yada. There's a million different ways to dissect that aspect of it, but something that blatant definitely deserves some type of reaction, some type of activity there. And the other thing I wanted to mention about it was that I thought I wanted to shout out to Dan Helly, I believe, who was on broadcast. You mentioned that the broadcast was asking, like, are the judges going to take it into consideration, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I was glad that they didn't let it go. You know what I mean? Like press the fucking issue on that a little bit, not only just for like the sake of the fight, but like so that it gets ingrained in people's heads, in the culture's head, that like this is not okay. It should be spotlighted more, and maybe that will help change things at some point, because if you just let it go, like, yeah, who also does that a lot is Paul Felder. Paul Felder is like, yeah, that was a blatant foul, there should be something done about that. Like, it's like I appreciate that conversation just because it needs to be something that there's a groundswell around, something that people are talking about, so maybe something actually happens at some point.
I'm actually really glad you brought up the dude on Contender Series. He was really good. I don't know who he is. You said his name. I couldn't tell you it back
I
right
think it was
then,
Dan Helly, I believe it was.
but he was really, really good, dude. Like, I don't know that guy. He was smart. But anyway, so yeah, being able to get away with it is not the issue. It's still being able to gift them a unanimous decision after this. Like,
Right.
how is that? Like, how is there not like a new thing? Like, a literal asterisk kind of deal. Like, I'm not trying to be that way, but like, what could be, a win, but like, a technical victory. Just we can make it can be a one at the end. If you commit an illegal foul and you win the fucking thing, technical victory, it goes in the third column. Fuck it. I got it.
Yeah, no, and I talked about that on the watch along for the Paris card, I believe it was, the conversation that we were having about that. I think it was last week, where we were saying it's like the record book does not recall all of the details of these fights, all of the intricacies and things like that. It's a win or it's a loss, and that's an unfortunate aspect of the sport as well. So, I guess for at least for right now, just something to keep in mind as fans, especially when you're doing your betting. But in the big picture, yeah, there's probably some better way to there's a better system out there. We just have to make the leap, and that just seems to be like something that the ABC is just dragging their feet on like crazy. So I don't know. I don't know what we it feels like we have these conversations like so often on this show. You know what I mean?
It's crazy, Elon sending missiles to fucking space, and we got real issues here. Like,
It's
Jesus,
2025, people. Update the scoring system, update the officiating.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no,
Anyway,
I feel you. But no, and it's funny that you'd mentioned that too. I did not remember that it was Antoine Ho who was on the end of that Lonnie Kavanaugh knockout. That was one of the most devastating knockouts in the history of the Contender Series, as far as I'm concerned. So this guy has been getting quite the raw deal, and it sucks because he's not a bad fighter. I mean, he
dude,
navigates
he
fights pretty well.
he's really damn good, especially. And listen, I don't think that it sucks when you see him lose on Contender Series the second time. It's like, okay, well, he's not getting into the UFC is the ultimate, thing that you're getting at. But he genuinely can. Flyweight is in need of people, always is, and he's from Vietnam. He can definitely bring it. There's only one other Vietnamese fighter that I know, Quang Lee, I believe.
I think so. Yeah,
Yes.
Quang Bang Lee.
So he definitely has a market. He can join, he can jump in, and people will come see his fights. But losing two times on the Contender Series doesn't give me hope that if he gets matched up on short notice against somebody that he's going to win. It just sucks because he is good, but there's other people that are probably better.
Yeah, for sure. And as far as Chapolin is concerned, like, I mean, maybe give this guy one more shot if you really feel if he's got some kind of pull with the promotion for whatever reason. But like, I was certainly not impressed enough by his performance, all things considered. Even without take the illegal knee out of the equation, I was glad that he did not end up getting a contract on this episode.
I was also glad he did not get a contract. I'm glad. Listen, we've already. I don't know if we've talked about it in depth. Like, the way the Contender Series works is you start out and you play it by ear. If it starts out bad, then there's a big chance that you're going to wow him with a lot less, and that's going to get you in. But as time goes on, as the season continues, he's going to be been wowed so many different times. Like, you're really going to have to step up, So it's better to be earlier on because there's not much to play off of before. And then if you're the last week, you got to really bring it. Like, he's got to be wanting to, or he's going to be in the mood to just be like, it's been a good season, boys. Here you go, here you go. But Chapolin, glad he didn't get a contract because I don't think he should have deserved it. It wasn't a performance that makes you go, wow. It was a performance that makes you look at Antoine Ho and be like, damn, it sucks that he's not the guy who could be able to walk away with the victory.
Yeah,
So,
exactly correct.
but Chapolin will definitely end up with an opportunity in Contender Series or a short notice opponent in the UFC, and I'll tell you why. He still is training with Daniel Cormier. Daniel Cormier wants to be a trainer of people, I guess, because this is the only person that I know that Daniel Cormier trains because he did it for Tough, but like Tough is over now. Tough has been gone. He doesn't have to unless he really wanted to. And DC keeps glazing him like this dude has got it. Like I know this dude is like really that guy. Dana don't see it, but DC might be able to tug on his coat a little bit.
Yeah, it is true. It was interesting seeing DC there in a training capacity and not on commentary, but then jumping on commentary later on to do his power rankings for some reason. It's a big make 'em up for whatever reason on the Contender Series sometimes. But
You thought I was gonna let you do the power rankings, huh?
yeah,
No way, no way.
little bit strange. But yeah, no, I mean, DC is ATT, so I mean, that's if he's training ATT, then that's fine. I mean, that's normal.
Yeah,
But yeah, I don't know exactly what DC is seeing in this guy outside of his capacity on the Ultimate Fighter, but whatever it is, it was enough to get him from tough to here. So, maybe he's seeing something we're not.
yeah, true.
Either way, unfortunate circumstances to this one. Definitely a marred fight for that reason, and one that I think is just kind of going to fade off into the ether, and we will remember the officiating more than the fight itself.
True.
All right, moving on. This was a fun one. This was Mandel Nalo versus Samuel Silva. Samwell, I think is how they pronounced it on there. But yeah, Nalo out of Canada, getting himself a nice early knockout. And I like Nalo. I'm a fan of this guy. He's a guy with a cool personality. He's got a big old shaggy head of hair. He looks like Rafi from oh god, what the name of that show? The television show, The League on FX back in the day. It's a little old now, but Jason Mantzoukas is the guy, and he looks a lot like him, and he's cool. I liked it.
I thought he like as soon as I saw him in his little promos, I was like, this guy looks and kind of gives off the Mike Davis vibes, and I still get that after the fact. I'm like, this dude definitely is like Mike Davis
I could
esque. But
see it.
anyway, so this fight is hilarious because you got Samuel Silva, who is being backed by one of the War Room representatives, Sean Shelby himself. He gets on there and he's like, this guy's an absolute warrior. I've seen him get knocked down 4 times in a row, come back, get a TKO victory. This dude's a fucking animal. You can never stop him. And then the fight's about to start. Laura gets on there. Guys, this guy here is a marauder. I have seen him do so much after getting so much damage. You're gonna have to kill him. You're gonna have to kill this guy. And like, trust me, I done seen Tommy Gunn just perform, so I know what brink of death looks like. This guy's Samuel Silva. He goes in there against a 30 something old man, Nalo, who, in his own right, very, very sound, very skilled, very tactical. He looks like he has been training in a dojo for his life. Like that's what he fights like he's just so measured, and any move he has the perfect whiff and get you back. Like it's kind of like a point striking kind of vibe, like an MVP esque, but he's not as goofy and charismatic with it. He's very technical by the books, and man, does he just know how to just chop you down. Let the leg kicks. They listen. I'm not trying to talk about Samuel Silva. They talked about him getting knocked down. Okay, he probably didn't get kicked every one of those knockdowns because he must be able to take hella shots to his chin, but his legs are just feeble as hell because we've seen plenty of people who take leg kicks and they walk through them and they're okay. We talked about this with Zhang Min Yang. Jesus.
Yeah.
Leg kicks are, we've seen people who train them and you get better at taking them. This dude here clearly didn't watch the tape, I guess, because that was what they all talked about with Nalo is his leg kicks. His leg kicks are the best. His legs is this because like when you watch the knockout or the TKO kind of deal, it's literally not the shot that drops him. It's his legs can't even hold him up anymore. He just falls back. And it's like so embarrassing. Like leg kick TKOs normally are it's like ow 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 and they fall over type of deal, but like this one was like actually pretty cool. Like he really hurt his legs so much that when he needed them most, they just stopped working. You know, like I don't know.
Yeah, him and Harry Hardwick training together, perhaps, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, no, Nalo came in there with the 70s porn stash and mini mullet going on,
That's
and
called a shag.
Okay, he came in there with the porn stash and the shag. You're looking straight out of Boogie Nights, and this dude went in there and annihilated. I was really happy with this performance. I liked it. Like I said, he's kind of a buoyant character. He went in and handled his business against this guy. You were right; they were talking him up like crazy. This Silva guy, and just crumbled him. I mean, first round. This is another one of those deals where Contender Series is the great equalizer, man. These guys who are killers back at home, you come into the Contender Series, it's a whole nother ball game. So
Dude, so I actually so we were talking about audition on the mic. Nalo is a perfect example. Again, he's not going in there and he's like, I'm really grateful for this opportunity. Like, thank you. I hope I get a contract. He's like, no, you put me anywhere right now. I'm ready to go. Like, I'm too old for that shit. Like, Dana, you understand. We get it. We're two old men. Let me just go put me somewhere that you think that it's a good matchup and I'll go do it. And that's really all you need out of this is look, Contender Series is about if you want this to be your career, you got to prove it to Dana. And some people don't have a long career in the sport. Not everybody has the longevity of somebody like a Charles Oliveira, like something like that. He's only got a handful of fights, and if he makes them quick and if he's able to eviscerate his opponents like that every single time, give him a ranked guy in 2 fights, send him on his way, and we'll see what happens. So
sure. I mean, and he was talking about wanting to fight on the upcoming Canada card, which I mean, who knows if they might
shit,
actually do it.
prelims got a spot for you,
I was
buddy.
gonna say, I mean, he's representing Canada. They got a card coming up in Canada. Might make sense for it. So we've been seeing that lately. I've actually really enjoyed that we've been seeing these Contender Series guys do rapid turnaround after they get their wins. Come in, start shooting them up, see what they got.
That's just definitely. I know we say it's like, oh, it's like really cool that they do it, but like at the end of the day, I think that's the ultimate goal is like get them on TV, get the buzz right when it's hot, and it's like the next available option in their hometown where people know that he's from. Just throw him in there. Malcolm
Uh,
Wallmaker. I mean, I know we talk about him all the time, but like he's a perfect example of it. I mean, just throw him out there, and it's not throwing him to the wolves, but like, yeah, I mean, he's gonna have to if he wants to represent that country, on that card or that state for Malcolm Wallmaker it is, but like throw him out there and just make sure and just hope for the best. I just
yeah,
love the idea.
absolutely. Yeah, same. I mean, this is what they're here for, especially when they're not taking damage, which Nalo took next to none. So
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
he fucked this dude up, dude. It
he
was like
really did run and
when you
gun.
when you watch the knockout, you're like because we've seen a couple different weeks, but now of opponents who just crumble to not much. When you see this one, you initially are like, "Oh, not again! No way!" Like, but then when you watch in the replay, you're like, "Well, he was getting punched on the way down, but it wasn't really the punches that were doing it. Like, he just literally could not work his legs anymore." So, you know,
Yeah, you got to credit where credit is due, right?
yeah, no, shout out to Nalo. I'm actually a really big fan. Again, it's not about what you do or what you say. It is what you do, but
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's all about what you do in the cage, and that is certainly what he did his damn thing in
hell
there.
yeah.
So very nice, Nalo. Shout out to him and shout out to Canada. All right, moving forward here. This is the other fight with the ridiculous officiating blunder. This is Theo Haig versus Cesaria Olashechuk. Of course, this is the brother of Mikhail Olashechuk making his attempted debut here in the organization, trying to get a contract. But Mikhail, a longtime UFC veteran at this point. This fight was I mean, it was pretty one-sided for most of it anyway, so you can say maybe that it wasn't the worst that had happened in this fight, but basically what happened here is that Olashechuk had Haig down by his legs and was banging the side of his head. Copeland, again, Gary Copeland, the referee again, thought that some of the strikes were illegal. He thought that they were back of the head strikes. They were not.
He's fucking
Okay.
retarded.
I mean, this was so bad, this one, because I mean, like, the reason that this one is so bad is because Jason Herzog, he will always say when a fighter is getting close to the back of the head, he will say ear, hit him on the ear. That's what he's telling him. He's that, if you can feel the ear where you're hitting, then you're hitting close enough to the front. You're not back of the head. He was hitting him on the fucking ear. They were ear shots. I counted one that was maybe questionable, and it was when Haig was in motion. There was nothing else that was illegal. Gary Copeland just decided they were illegal. He stops action for that and then decides that, no, those weren't illegal shots, but Haig got knocked out. Fight's over because of the knockout.
No. Don't say he decided. He didn't come back and decide shit. So obviously we have to stop. And he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. And you see Haig get up and he's like wobbling
Oh, yeah.
around. And it was like, oh shit. Because
He did go limp.
he did, when he was doing the pounding, one, no illegal shots. Like this dude, again, he's an idiot. He's looking right at it with his face like damn near getting hit by the backswing. And he can't even tell you that it's hitting his ear. Haig, shout out to Haig for staying on the single leg like an idiot. I'm sorry, that's call it what it is, but he was staying on it, and he also wasn't hiding his head well enough for it to not be ear shots. Like it wasn't like you could only see the back of his head.
Yeah, he wasn't defending it in any way, so there was no obstruction.
Yeah, so he was getting pounded, and then yeah, he did go a little limp. He did. He was about to continue to go limp. I mean, he was going to continue to go, but it's the time, stop. Back of the head, and then he's like, he goes to the monitor, and then this is where I said he didn't decide. He goes to the monitor, and he comes back, fight's over. Yeah, they said you went out. They said you went out, kid. And he's like, oh, he's like, nope. They saw it on the monitor, and he's like, what are you talking? Like, what are you did you not see it? Like, what are you're telling now we use the refs cam? Like now that matters after just 2 fights ago? You didn't give a shit about a knee clash? Like I'm so confused on like Gary Copeland's absolutely an idiot. So he didn't even decide this. He got the call like, yeah, he's out. And then he's like, all right, fuck it. No illegal strikes. Cool. I don't have to do shit. Just give it to that guy over there.
Yeah, I mean,
So
if he had just called this as a TKO in the moment, there would have been no problem. But the problem now becomes you have this stoppage due to perceived illegal strikes, due to the perception of illegal strikes. Then you stop the action, and then it is decided. I didn't catch that was how that all went down, but I'll take your word for that because it was
dude,
weirdness there. I know that he
was
conferred
bad.
with them, so yeah, no, I know that. Yeah, and I don't doubt that was how it all went down. But so yeah, you're getting the confirmation that he went out from someone else, and then you just stop the fight off of that. It's like if you're going to stop the fight because of illegal strikes like that you thought were strikes that you thought were illegal, you're going to stop the fight for that, then you resume the fight after that. Like, I mean, it just was a very bizarre and dumb way for this to end, even though it probably was going to go that way anyway. And if you had just done the right thing in the moment, none of this could have would have happened. All of this could have been avoided.
I think you're misunderstanding because that is not the problem. That is the problem right here. And going forward, there's a bigger problem as that this dude don't know how to do his goddamn job. Like
Well,
what the
right.
frick? Like he is literally just like dumb. Like he multiple times on this episode, like after the first one, like I genuinely believe you should have enough referees on deck. Same with like the ring girls. Like you got 4 ring girls, but like they literally walk around in the circle. Like, do you really need more than one? Like, so whatever you want to say, but like with the refs, if you make a mistake, like that should be they should be incentivized because they get paid per match, right? And then if you are officiating, hell, start out with one, and as soon as he makes a mistake, all right, second one starts, he's done getting paid, get him out. And then if they make a mistake, all right, then we move on to Gary Copeland. He should be third down the line, and if he's making mistakes, we got the fourth. Get him the fuck out too. Like I'm
Yeah.
just they shouldn't be able to benefit off of this shit. Seriously.
True. Yeah, no, I mean, sad to say, Gary Copeland, I don't recall how much of it was on him, but what I do know is that I made an entire video about the Atlantic City card from last year, and Gary
Great
Copeland was,
video, by the way.
appreciate that. Thank you. And Gary Copeland was all over that card. So I mean, I'm not saying that it was 100% him on that because, like I said, I don't remember exactly how much of the mistakes fell onto him on that event. But now you have him touching that event, which was a complete cluster, and now here, which is blatant mistakes. I mean, these are like really, really bad mistakes here. So yeah, I would say that. I mean, like the only other time I can recall, two times. There was one time was actually it was a Benoit Saint Denis fight. This was in, I believe, the first ever Paris card. I forget who he was fighting, but it was a ridiculous refereeing situation in that one. That would be like a fight that deserves its own video just on how bizarre that refereeing was. That guy got pulled. And then I believe that in Australia, there was the card, I think it might have been Sydney, where it was the one referee had made that ridiculous call, I think in the Taito Ivasa fight. And then that guy got called as well. So it's like, we do know that they can pull referees out of events. Don't bring those people back, perhaps. And
Yeah.
maybe Gary Copeland kind of deserves to be one of those people. And I hate to say that because it's like, I'm not trying to take food out of this guy's mouth, but you cannot fuck up that bad when people's safety is at stake.
Yeah, they look at him, they're like, "Oh my god, look how much muscle he got." It's like, dude, like, come on, get out of here. Hate Gary Copeland.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, again, people are clowning him because, of his stature and all his, the physique plus stature element of it. He's kind of a shorter guy with big muscles and all that. And it's like, all of that, I can understand getting on his case or whatever. Like, I'm not going to go that route. But at the same time, you can judge just off of this, and it's enough. This
Yeah,
is enough to warrant the criticism. So Gary Copeland needs to take a benching position.
100%.
So that was that one. Cesario Olszejczyk gets a contract as well off of that. So, I mean, we're going to have to see now how he actually fares in the organization, but this was certainly not a great representation of that.
Give him shot a bullet.
Oh, yeah. All right. Straight off rip.
Yeah,
All
fuck it.
right.
I don't know,
Maybe
why
can
not?
avenge his brother's loss.
I mean, it's a story.
Sure. All right. Well, and in the final fight of the evening, this was Jack Congdon versus Jean-Paul Lebosnoyani. And I say that exactly correctly because of the amount of time I said Lesbos Noyani on the watch along. No, it is Lebosnoyani. No lesbianism, no Isle of Lesbos. This is Lebosnoyani. Yeah, anyway, that's his name. John
I
Paul Lebosnoyani.
I think this was maybe the point on the episode where I was thinking to myself, like, they really don't stop making last names. Like, you could just have the most common first name ever, but like creating names, like genuinely last names is just impossible. Cause like, what is a Labosniani? Like, oh,
I want to say maybe Greek.
I
Sounds
mean,
Greek, maybe.
but anyway, this fight is also funny because my hater was coming out. Jack Cogden, sure, great promo. I don't know, just standard guy who was there to fight. Like, really wasn't anything crazy. John Paul Labosniani, this dude gets on there talking about he's fucking from the outer world. I'm born to fucking fight. Hoist Gracie and his whole fucking clan got me together and put the pendant on my fucking head. Like, he thought he was gifted from God to fight, and I think it
Yeah.
was absolutely hilarious.
He was anointed, yes, because his father is also a fighter, and so I guess he
Oh,
was born. Yeah, exactly. He was born into it. He was molded by the fight game. He's
y-
one of those kind.
yeah, and so I'm literally hating on him the entirety of this because he's not. And maybe this is just him being himself, because I don't think that he's likable enough for me to be like, yeah, this dude's like a stone cold killer, because like it doesn't seem like he buys it himself. Like, his confidence is like a little fabricated, I kind of feel. But his game, as of what we'll talk about in a second, I mean, it stands up for the confidence character that I think he's trying to be. But I don't feel like at the end when he's like, no, like, it was just cringe. I'm like, cool people aren't cringe. It's just not how that works. So John Paul goes into this fight. I'm hating him. I'm hating him already. He's super short. He's like, like compared to this guy, Jack is like massive. At welterweight, Jack, I honestly thought he was a lightweight. Like he looks like Drew Dober, basically. Same build, very short, stocky kind of deal. And then we get into this fight, and it doesn't last much longer than a minute. It looks like because John Paul just puts a fucking combination on this dude. He actually does the Robert Whitaker kind of deal. He does that. He does a 1-2 and then a high kick with it, and it literally stumbles Jack. He puts him in the stratosphere, and then I don't think you have to watch the next shot in slow motion to actually understand just like what it was, because when you watch it in motion, John Paul comes in with a right hand, and it literally, because it's crazy. I'm sorry, I got to go through this again because it really is crazy. So Jack is obviously in the stratosphere, wobbling and falling, not really, and then John comes in and sticks him with a right hand that stuns him so bad, like his body's inertia just stopped. Like it all went from the fist into him, and then he just like fell. Like it was crazy. But when you watch it in slow motion, John literally, because this dude is so fucking tall, and John is literally a stubby ass fighter, he has to plant on both feet and jump as hard as he fucking can. And it's crazy when I'm talking about the punch and how like all the inertia from the punch with it. It's like, dude, Jean Paul didn't have any follow through with it either. Like he hit him so hard, and like it was a brick wall of like just like skull that he punched, and like they both just collided and they counteracted because nobody went flying in either direction. It just like it was a stern ass shot, like crazy. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, the finishing sequence was definitely worth the the price of admission. I mean, yeah, he had him all kinds of wobbled there, and then that jump shot. It wasn't like a Superman punch. It was something different. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
its own thing. But
It's like
John
Joaquin
Paul,
Buckley, if you want like a very good comparison,
yeah,
like against Wonder Boy. Like it was kind of like that, but it was in the open mat with a dude just fucking already flatlined while he was standing.
yeah, definitely. That's a good comparison, actually. So yeah, I mean, I can see what you're saying about him persona wise, and yeah, the whole gift from the MMA gods is a little bit much, perhaps, but he certainly did the damn thing here, and we're gonna have to see if he can replicate that because Congdon. I remember Congdon's thing was like, he was like, yeah, well, they're gonna have to. Like, I actually kind of thought it was kind of dope. He was like, well, all I know is I don't know too much about him, but all I know is they had to fly to the ends of the earth to find somebody tough enough to beat me. And I was like, okay, you're saying something kind of dope there. I like that. And then he just did not live up to the hype on his side whatsoever. So Lebosnayani, he kind of did. You know what I mean? It's like you gotta weigh it based on what actually happened, and Lebosnayani made it happen.
I remember that line. I was thinking like, damn, this is kind of a bar, and I am hating on Jean Paul Lebosniani here. So maybe he's got a chance. And then when I saw him come out, I was like, dude, he's so massive for welterweight, but I mean, genuinely just doesn't. Well, I'm not gonna say he doesn't have the movement because Jean Paul, honestly, you have to believe it. You have to buy it so far. I mean, if he genuinely has been doing this since birth and like they want him to be a fighter, whether that's just the character that he wants to be or not, he did show us something we don't normally see. I mean, that was very good finish, and who knows what's next for him, but honestly, I think I'm into it. A lot of people I was a hater on for this episode, but I'm coming around to being a fan. If they perform like this, I'm down.
As long as they don't continue to have cardboard cutouts of his face on sticks in the crowd, that would be nice because Lebosniani had a big cheering section for him with cardboard cutouts on sticks, and I was like, all right, come on.
I always, especially with shit like that, when I see that, I'm like, what has this dude done for you? Like, for you to be like, I'm gonna go hand, like he's like
This is
just a
on it,
nine and,
man.
I mean, that was like 4 or 5 people with the cutout heads. Like, uh,
Got a big family.
I don't know, bro. That's a lot of people, and I'm like, what? Watch the fight. You ain't gotta do the whole holding the stick up. He knows you're there. Whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a little much, but I guess that's the cult of personality, cult of I don't know, whatever. I mean, whatever it is, he has a large faction behind him, and he's got a good infrastructure, I would say.
What I think that is, if you want my honest opinion, I think that is the U.S. because this dude's in the featured fight, and that's the UFC doing the cutout shit and like trying to make it a bigger space.
Nah,
Yeah, yes, I'm
no way
telling
they're
you,
doing
bro.
that because they would do it for more fighters then if they did that.
No, but not every fighter is Jean-Paul Lobosniani, buddy. Like, are you serious? Like, are you really? You have a
All
question
right,
that? Like, seriously, dude.
maybe, but
I mean,
either way.
listen, the way he talk, he's Gracie. I mean, that's whatever you want to say.
I don't know. I think that would be. I mean, we know the organization has preferential treatment, but that would be like that'd be a bridge too far for
Listen, if
one guy. I would think. I don't know.
oh my gosh. So when I listen, if you want my pro wrestling bridge of the day, when I watch Legends and Future Greats, this is the plug, everybody. They are in the performance arena, and the crowd that they have there is 100% fabricated because they all have signs. Like you would think that people that come in off the street that don't even know who they are, that they're filming some TV show, they just already have signs for these fucking people. No, it's fabricated fans. They have that shit ready for the people on the show. It's like John Paul Bosniani. He's on the show. He's the fucking guy. I don't know.
Keep your pro wrestling shit out of this
It's all
discussion. God damn
business.
it.
It's all business. That's all I'm saying.
Well, all right. Regardless, good win for Labozniani. I mean, it was definitely look. It lived up to all of that. I mean, it's all of that conversation aside. I mean, the dude really did in such short time too. A minute
Yeah.
8 seconds. The guy took care of business like nobody's business, really. I mean, he went in there to handle his business and did just that. So, nice win for him and well deserved. We'll see if he can replicate in the actual organization.
I actually want to bring up something that we didn't talk about, but I do want to. So when we were talking about one, we didn't want to bring up that, or we did not want to bring up, but we did not bring up the Rotullo brother. Uh,
Sure. Yes.
so
It
I
was
would like to.
Ty, I believe, was that one fighting on there.
I just bring that up in comparison to Jean Paul Bosniani because these are two dudes that have been doing this their entire lives, and they're doing something different. That was the Rotullo brothers' first MMA fight. Jean Paul's Contender Series. Now he's going into the UFC. What do we take of these new kind of, what do I want to say these prospects are? I mean, these are homegrown kind of deal, but in the sense of like actually homegrown, not the promotion homegrown.
Right. Yeah. These are like incubated,
Yeah,
designed fighters, essentially. Yeah. I mean, it's
Drago,
interesting.
Ivan Drago type shit.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think it's great if that's what they want to do. That I always kind of worry a little bit about like anytime, regardless of fighting or anything. I always kind of worry when like parents are sort of navigating their child's lives a little bit. It's a little bit weird, but if that's what they want to do, if they have a legitimate love for it and they have the basis for it, then you're off to a good start.
I know we've talked about this Contender Series episode way too long, but I actually did want to bring that up too. I did remember at the time thinking like, if this is true and like you really did grow up thinking like, man, my parents really want me to be a fighter. They want me to be this and that. It's like, why didn't they want better for you? Like, I don't know. Like even all the fight, like I think we've done this before. Like, why didn't they, you don't have to be a fighter. You could do whatever you want. You don't have to go get punched. Like you could literally be an astronaut if you want. Like you can have so many dreams. But anyway,
Of course. Yeah, it's true. I mean, some people want to fight. That's
hey,
legit,
I get it. Yeah.
It's
Follow footsteps, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree or whatever. I mean, and there's also easy road in. I mean, it's the same with Hollywood or any of that kind of stuff with
Yeah.
nepotism. So there's something to be said for it. So as long as they actually do want this career path for themselves and this is what they're choosing, then yeah, I mean, I think they're off to a good start from birth, basically. So
Well, shit. I
and
mean, it'd be a waste now if Jean Paul didn't want to do it.
yeah,
Fuck. Yeah.
right.
I
It's a
mean,
good
geez.
point, right? Yeah, exactly. To throw all that out the window to go be a veterinarian. But I mean, on the other hand, though, I mean, we have seen fighters who have similar, maybe not exactly that, but similar, where they've been training for since very young ages, who have not had that great success, or like not maybe middling success so far. I forget the girl's name off the top of my head, but there was the female fighter who
Ninja Ferret.
yeah, is that her? Yeah, she was the one that
Juliana Martinez.
no, no. I don't think so. It's the she just fought Angela Hill.
Oh, you're talking about Yasmin Lucendo.
There you go. Bingo. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. She's been fighting for since she was like 6 or something like that. I mean, and she's okay.
13.
Yeah, are you saying well, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I get
very
you.
young age, she's born into the sport or whatever, and is not necessarily setting the world on fire just yet. Not that she can't going forward or whatever. But my point is that it's not necessarily an indicator of guaranteed success.
True. I hear you. Yeah, nepotism is definitely big into it, but either way.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, when you see that, like my prime example of stuff like that is like musicians. You know, there are great musicians, and then their kids go into music, and sometimes they can be very, very talented, but they're not necessarily going to be their parents.
Yeah.
So it's always a crapshoot. But either way, shout out to John Paul Labosnayani. You're gonna have to say that name a whole bunch now going forward. It's a little
I
annoying.
mean, yeah, I mean, John Paul Bosniani. It just is his name. It is a wacky one, but like, dude, names just exist once again.
Indeed, never in short supply, as you mentioned. So
Sure.
yeah, that was Dana White's Contender Series Season 9, Week 4. Good one overall, I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely like this one. I think tomorrow I'm gonna watch it with Dad again because after watching that episode, I was like, damn, I now that was the episode that he would have loved. So, but I did rewatch them with him. But
Fair. Well,
um,
you can watch it along with myself at youtube.com/@Yama Show. Chase, you can put my stream on in the background while you and Dad are watching.
hey, nice, absolutely.
There you go. All right, cool. Well, let's move on to the meat and potatoes over here. We had a fight night on Saturday. It was Imavov versus Borralho. This took place at the Accor Arena in Paris, France. What did you think of this fight night?
This fight night as a whole, initial thoughts, honestly, and we'll get into it later when, or maybe we'll have the discussion early about the crowd. Initially I came in thinking like France is a good crowd, and I just watched them over the weekend with WWE, and they definitely had a very active crowd. They really enjoy their live performances. I don't think that I was like blown away by the France crowd in this one as I was going through it. I mean, it was a very standard overzealous crowd. Like it's nothing out, it ain't nothing I ain't seen before at this point. You got to really be wowing me at this point. Like the crowd has to be doing the fucking wave in the background the entire show. Like
I think it was
that's
about the loudness of it people were getting at.
I mean, I get it, but like, yo, just because they get on the screen and say, yo, this arena's at 10.9 decibels right now, it's like, I don't know what that means. I'm not even there. Like, I literally turned you down for yelling that at me. Like, so I don't know. It's just not my cup of tea to be told the numbers and tell me how loud it is because, frankly, I don't care. I mean, they're going crazy at a commercial break. Like, are you serious? Like, there's nothing going on. So when they're during the fights, when they're into it and involved, which you even see during the early parts of this card, they didn't give a shit until their fighters came on. It was pretty quiet for
Well, yeah,
whatever.
I mean, definitely the hometown bias was in full effect. I will give France some credit though; they were pretty respectful of the other guys after the fact. So I would, I want to at least credit where credit is due because there are certain crowds, cough, cough, Brazil, but like that they're not as respectful in totality. So I want to at least say that. I also thought that the singing was impressive. They definitely got the singing in unison thing down. They're obviously a football country, so football lends itself to that kind of thing. So I thought it was I was okay with the crowd. I mean, I guess I just don't really like consider the crowd all that much in the equation. A lot of people do though. I mean, a lot of people are that's the whole Apex argument, right? Why, it would have been so much better in front of a crowd. We're not going to remember if it's not in front of a crowd or whatever. Like to me, I care about the fighting. That's what I'm here for. So the rest of the stuff is kind of secondary to that. But the fighting was pretty goddamn good on this card. So the crowd enhanced that to an extent, I guess.
Yeah, crowd was fine. I just, every time we go to a new arena, and I think, everybody, we all love the sport and we love to hear everybody else enjoy. It's a community thing. I'm just not one to be like, man, that was the best fucking crowd ever. Because China was also great. Like they
Sure.
were pretty fucking bumping, and they were going the whole time. This is when France came. When their fighters came on the main card. Yeah, they were into it. But like before that, like there wasn't shit going on really. So
Yeah, the fight that really sells that concept was Bukauskas versus Craig because it was dead silent in there.
yeah,
Two fighters, neither of which were from France.
yep,
Everybody's out getting a beer.
yep. I get you.
Either way, though, this was the most knockouts at a UFC event with 9 and tied for the most finishes at a UFC event with 11. So that's pretty impressive.
Definitely impressive. I mean, there's always something to behold when you get on these UFC events. It's never the ones you expect. So,
Yeah, absolutely. So that was all cool. We did have a couple cancellations. Pitbull, Patricio Pitbull versus Losine Kaita got canceled due to Kaita missing weight. although he claimed that he was begging Pitbull to accept the fight and Pitbull still wouldn't. So
Yeah,
Pitbull
of
was,
course he's begging him to take the fucking fight. Yo, take it with me at an advantage,
yeah,
please.
exactly. That's
I
what,
haven't missed weight in 25 fights. It's like, okay, now you choose to fucking do it. And then, I didn't want to get into it, but then he posted some fucking Oscar-worthy performance on Twitter of him laying in the tub. It's like, dude, just move on. You missed the weight. Don't fucking put this on Pitbull because he didn't want to fight you at a weight disadvantage. No, we need to do the same thing with Wonder Boy. Give Pitbull his money. What the frick?
oh yeah, no, absolutely, yeah. And he can hem and haw all he wants about it. He's the one at fault. So you're not doing yourself any favors. I had heard rumors that he got cut. I believe
He
that those were
didn't.
false. Yeah, those false rumors about that. So either which way, that fight did not take place. Also, Frez Zayam was out of his fight, and he was replaced by Harry Hardwick on short notice. And of course, we will talk about Harry Hardwick's performance. The only other thing I wanted to mention before we got into the fights was there were a couple of noticeable technical issues on this broadcast. At first, there was a big audio issue during the Tavares versus Brychek promo. They had some weird stuff going on where you could kind of hear I think it was Heidi Androl was doing like a spoken promo over the backstage footage, and they had her very low, and then they tried to bump her up, and there was like a bunch of like noise that you heard from like technicians and stuff. That was a little strange. But then the more noticeable was the broadcast cut out altogether for Gomez's Octagon interview, and then cut out one more time before the fight that was following it. So some weird stuff going on with that.
I would like to say, in all fairness, when the broadcast cut out, we did not need to hear William Gummy. I mean, so
Fair.
if it could have cut out anywhere, there we go. But no, dude, this was a fucking horrible broadcast. I'm on ESPN Plus. The shit is lagging out its fucking like it's literally just the worst experience I've ever seen on ESPN. And you know how it's bad is because I normally have horrible stream connection. Thinker, you can attest. You watch the shit and it lags all the time.
Sure.
I had 0 frames dropped on the stream, but ESPN is skipping through fights, and it's absolutely ridiculous. And then blue screen, oh, where'd it go? Red screen, what are you doing? Thank you, we'll be right back. It's like, what am I watching? Where's my fights? And it's
Yeah.
like ESPN Plus, like you're literally just on that bullshit. So I don't know. I hate to say, but like I'm like watching it on ESPN Plus, thinking I need to go find a stream. Like I can't watch the fights. I got to go find something to. I pay for this and it's not working. So
Sure. Yeah. No, I mean, I have a little bit of sympathy for the broadcast teams as a person who worked in live entertainment. I understand how stressful it is and things like that. Everybody goes into scramble mode and they're shitting their pants backstage trying to fix it and everything. So there is a little bit of compassion that I have there. But at the same time, you're exactly right. This is something that you're paying for. These kinds of things, like we've had just recently. I was talking about the BKFC event that basically did not broadcast because of technical issues and stuff like that. Paid money for that, and I had to go like to my credit card company and get my money back because I was having trouble getting my refund and stuff. So my point is that like while I do have sympathy for the actual on the ground workers, when it comes to the corporations that are putting these things on, your multi-billion-dollar corporations, at least give us what we're fucking paying for, you know?
yeah, 100%.
So yeah, just a little bit of strange stuff there. But other than that, there were some fights. You want to talk about them?
I'm ready.
Let's do it. All right, starting this thing off, Shauna Bannon versus Sam Hughes. Now, this was one that I think that I called 10,000% correct on our prediction episode last week. So why don't you start it off and I'll follow up?
This one, unfortunately, we got a woman's performance to start off, which I figured it was going to be a decent one because when they put the women up first, they usually know what they're doing, and we normally get a really good scrap. Shauna Bannon came in looking really good this time. I think I've been a hater on her before, but man, I really think I've just come along to Shauna Bannon. She's a girl, she's in the league. I love to see it. She comes out and she does her thing. But in this one, she didn't do her thing. She didn't do her sidekick thing, which because she was going to get taken down. And then she did get taken down. And then she had nothing. And then, I mean, there really wasn't too much. I mean, it was 2 rounds, but there wasn't much going on that's like worth noticing. It was just the ending sequence. Shauna was just on her stomach, on her back, flipped to her stomach, got up on her knees, got her neck taken, and choked out. It was very, it was textbook from Sam Hughes, but I think I'm just more upset that Shauna Bannon is actually just the pretty Barbie girl that just doesn't do much grit. I don't know.
Well, like I said, we called all of this on the last episode. I mean, this was exactly as anticipated on all fronts. So, I mean, Sam came in knowing that she had to get past the kicks. And that was basically exactly what got her to the victory. I mean, it was a great start for Sam. She knew that Shauna was going to try to point from the outside. So she immediately pushes past it. Forward throwing hands, gets her hands on her as anticipated. I'd said that exactly. I was like, she's going to get her hands on her and get her down. And that was really where she showed her muscle and grit early. And that's all she really needed. She gets the takedown with ease. Shauna ends up accepting the position on the ground a ton in this fight, and that is a big problem in Shauna's game. You know, she cannot expect to be able to point on the outside with a fighter that's going to push past it, and that's exactly what I knew Sam was going to do. She's a wrestler at her base, and it showed in a great way here because that's all you really needed to do was get Shauna down, control her, smother her. And if she's going to accept position, then that's really all that you need. So no urgency off the back for Shauna. Sam, a little slow to take full advantage, but she eventually ramps it up, over the course of these takedowns. So, if I had any notes for Sam Hughes, it was maybe find the openings on the ground a little bit quicker, but it didn't matter. She ended up doing her thing as needed. So Shauna finally able to get back to her feet at the end of round one, but I would say that was a 10-8 round personally. I mean, like she really did not do anything on the feet. Like the kicks that she landed, I don't even think were actually full on lands. I mean, it was mostly just blocks. So I don't know. I mean, again, I said that McMillan didn't get a 10-8. So charitable here, fine 10-9. But either way, I thought that it was a whole lot of Shauna accepting position and being controlled. She got back to her feet, or excuse me, she started round two on her feet well, kicking as she was going to. She should have abandoned that game plan almost immediately. I mean, like after round one, she should have known that the outside kicking was not going to work and tried for something else. She should have tried maybe planting her feet and just trying to strike like standing firm. But I don't think that she really has the grit for that either. But Sam just pushes past that again, catches the kick. Sean on her back again. Nice transition. Ends up getting the neck.
You love to see someone who just finished an armbar in the UFC come into the next fight, not set up one single defensive, sub attempt. It's just awesome to see. So
Yeah, no,
whatever.
you're exactly right though. I mean, like there was it's unfortunate too because the way that Sam was on top, there were probably openings if you were a more skilled grappler. I mean, there probably would have been a couple of ways. I mean, like you didn't even see Shauna trying to fish the hooks backwards. Like that's
Yeah.
it's a risky move. It's not the best move that's always going to work, but at least try. I mean, at least do something. You're sitting there on your back, not bucking, not doing anything.
Yeah. 100 I definitely agree. There's not much to say. I mean, Shauna definitely let me down. She proved why and Sam Hughes with 6 losses in her career. I know everybody wants to talk about her competition. And shout out to her. She's definitely doing her thing, but Shauna Bannon, I figured if she was going to be a good to decent prospect, you would dispose of somebody who has lost so many times in their career. But she obviously was not able to do that. She didn't do anything really. And 42 strikes is pretty gracious. I'll give that. But either way, this one was ended, and I'm pretty glad I didn't have to watch 3 rounds of it.
Fair. I have always said, I think I said it on the last episode too, that I think that Sam Hughes defies her loss record. I think that she has made tremendous improvements over time, and this is an extension of that. She even said in her post fight, she's like, "Oh, my team's been investing a lot in me and time and effort and in my training and all that." And I think it really shows. I think that she is actually a great example of what is possible when you find the holes in your game and you fix them. And
Mhm.
you're seeing the fruits of the labor here. So I've always said, I'm a fan of Sam Hughes. I am I'm the president of the Sam Hughes fan club. Shauna Bannon, still my girlfriend. I mean, we're still in a committed relationship, but you take a loss. I'm not going to break up with you over it. But in this one, Sam Hughes was definitely the better fighter. So good deal.
Yeah, no, this one was an entertaining one to start, but it was just, not too much to say. We're gonna get a lot of finishes, boys and girls, so buckle up.
Indeed. Well, this did start with a finish here, and we're going to move into the next one, which is another one. This is Andreas Gustafsson versus Renat Fakhretdinov. This was a sloppy brawl from the start because Gustafsson is just a sloppy brawler.
I knew it. I mean, I knew I didn't think it was gonna be this quick,
Yeah.
but in actuality, what I knew was that you will not be the wild man to the wild man here. Ryan is going to be that that crazy guy. And if you think you're going to do that better than him, you got another thing coming. And Gustafson, I mean, respect to him. I'm not going to lie. I kind of respect the go through a whole camp just to just throw it out the window and just run in there like a bull and just do that.
Well, that the thing though is that they said on the commentary during his walkout, he basically like he trains, but he doesn't like train for fights. Like he just
Yeah.
he doesn't watch tape. He like doesn't do drills or anything like that. He just kind of like is, I guess, just in the gym, just like exercising. I don't know. Like what is the actual
Yeah.
training?
Yeah, I mean, just, lifting weights, picking up chicks. I
Sort of,
mean,
yeah, I guess.
go to the gym, they pay for the fitness pass, whatever you want to say. I mean, I just think it's genuinely funny because it shows. I mean, when he can get a hold of you, he is very, very good. Like, he can smash you with elbows. He's strong. He's a big, strong guy. But when you just go, it's just really crazy. Like, Ryan is one of those dudes, like, and it's kind of cringe when I hear some people say it. They're like, he just like went at him, he just like went at him like a madman. It's like, dude, that's what that is. Like, that dude just went at him like a dude. His hands just like swing, and like he just throws him back, and he's like just beating a drum in the middle of a match. It's really interesting to watch, but I'm genuinely happy that I knew he was going to finish him. I'm actually so mad that I didn't respect my confidence on this call, because Ryan is a decision merchant, and everybody knows this. He gets decisions against people that he probably shouldn't, and they're like splits, and it's like close, whatever you want to say. Gustafson is a hard hitting dude, and he's kind of a tank. But he I liked him, but I just knew Reinhardt had the finishing ability in him, and he is wild, and anything's happened. This is a puncher's chance fight right here. One of these dudes was going to go out, and like it just had to happen some way. So
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that Fakhretdinov had his best success when he slowed and dictated the pace of this fight, which he did early, which was great because Gustafsson, we again, this is one that I think we called pretty correctly. It's amazing too because it's like we didn't necessarily know this to be the truth, but I think both of us just had the inkling that if Gustafsson didn't get the fight that he wanted, then it was potentially him going to be crumbling. That he was going to crumble, and that's exactly what happened here. Is that he came out brawling. He was throwing some pretty heavy haymakers to start things off. Fakhretdinov just weathered that, slowed things down a little bit. Not much because he was still putting in his own work, but he did it on his own terms. And when he started to take over control of the pace of the fight, that's when things started to shift in his direction. And it was as quick as less than a minute because as soon as Fakhretdinov started to lay his hands on, Gus felt the power, got rocked, crumbled almost immediately. So yeah.
You know what the worst part about this one is, and I've got to give another shout out to this lovely broadcast that we watch on the fucking ESPN Plus. I didn't even get to watch this fight live. I was just
Aw.
it just lagged and just never came back on, and just I was refreshing and it's just lagging through the fight and it just did not fucking work. So love to see it. I come back to Gustafson fucking pouting in the fucking corner, like so whatever.
That sucks, man. I'm sorry to hear that one.
That's cool.
But yeah, the only other note that I had about this fight was that it reminded me of when you were talking about the Contender series, not this last week that we just reviewed, but like other weeks earlier, where it's like, that's it. I mean,
Yeah.
a little bit, like, because it really was just one of those deals where like Gustafson put it all out there very early. Fakhretdinov was the better fighter, and then it ended quickly.
I mean, but like, you're sitting there and you're like, well, that's it. It's like, well, this is a dude who doesn't train. He's openly admitting he just doesn't train. He just doesn't eat right. He just doesn't, he fuck it. Like, he just walks in there like a madman, whatever. Should he, is this somebody that we should have pity for that he lost? Like, no, we should be upset. People who bet on him should get a fucking return. They just bet on somebody who just went 6 months with a camp and didn't fucking train. Like, I don't know. It's just crazy. So.
Yeah, no, it is wild. I mean, and you hear that kind of stuff, and then if he wins, it's like, oh man, that's so crazy that he got the win off of that. But then it's like this happens, So you got to be
Yeah,
careful
pick
with
your
those kind of
poison.
guys. Yeah, right, exactly. Choose wisely when you hear those kinds of
Oh
things.
my god, dude, he got arrested 15 times in the same county, but he's fucking winning, ain't he? Well, he won once.
Once, yeah, that's a whole different can of worms there. But yeah, no, shout out to Renat Fakhretdinov getting the job done early and quickly. Very good performance, well deserved. I mean, really, you go in there and lay your hands on like that and show who is the better fighter. Definitely show who the tougher, stronger guy is in that
Yeah.
equation. So, yeah, good on Renat. And shout out to Bluma saying that Dalby is wanting that rematch now, and I could see potential in that if Dalby could rack up a couple wins.
Yeah, that would be funny. But yeah, no, shout out to Mank also. He just, Reinhardt with the good pick. That was a great comment. I had to sway him off of Gustafson, and I feel really good about this one. Like I genuinely knew that it was coming down and Reinhardt was gonna fucking finish him. I'm
Yeah,
happy about that.
yeah, I think we both went that way on the call, and happy for that assessment for sure.
Oh god.
Moving on here. Yes, this was an interesting one. This is one that we did not choose correctly here. Brad Tavares versus Robert Brychuk. During the walkouts, they talked about Brychuk basically training himself at one point. Like I was like, that's a little weird. He, had an odd kind of rocky road. His first fight was did not go his
Maybe
way.
ask why nobody wants to train him, at a time like that.
Maybe, I don't know. Whatever the case may be, I guess he got his camp in order because he looked pretty sharp here.
This fight, unfortunately, was another one that just we got to finish it. It was actually one of the longer fights where we got to finish, but genuinely could not care less about what was happening. This was so bad of a performance from both of these guys, in my opinion. I mean, not like individually did Brychek do bad or Tavares look like shit, but like they just weren't, there was no synergy between the fighters. Like they were just both too out of range, not doing anything. Brad Tavares doing his thing, but he looked like the worst version that he ever has. Of course, he gets fucking finished somehow when he's literally never been finished or some shit like that. Like, I don't know. By a dude who's had one fucking loss in the UFC, you get finished. I don't know. It goes back to you. I remember I was in your stream. I think you said, and Chase is asking why Brad Tavares is in the position that he's in. It's like, here you go. It's a fight like this. They need a guy to fight this guy. And like then he gets fucking finished by him. It's like, oh brother, like why does he have to like actually suck? Like, I don't know.
I mean, I want to give more credit to Brychuk on this one. Even though I do kind of agree that this was not necessarily like this is not like a breakout performance. This wasn't a performance that you see and be like, oh, that guy is next up now. He fixed all the problems. Now he's a killer. I just think that he did navigate decently, and his boxing was pretty solid overall. Was I think the big takeaway for him. I thought that he mixed up the highs and mids pretty well. He was going to the body, going to the head. I mean, there was the times where he had Brad pretty overwhelmed at least in that first round. Brad with that clutch double leg, that was a lifesaver in that moment. There's your veteran IQ at least, so you can like Brad is enough of a solid technical fighter to navigate until a bad stoppage happens. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, and that's really, I think, what this fight is, like, how I could sum that one up. I mean, because Brad was seriously hugging the cage in that second round. I mean, like you could tell that like he was trying to make the adjustments. He went for the takedown in the second round to try to, because he was like, shout out to Nixick also saying we're going to need to abandon the striking game plan. Let's go to wrestling now. And Brad did that. So again, these are the veteran elements that like make a fighter like Brad have longevity, stay in these kinds of fights or whatever. But that being said, it's like, yeah, but he's like hugging the cage. He's not really doing much. That second round was kind of a wash in general. Brychuk wasn't really hunting him down either. So it just sort of like,
He was conserving energy. Chill. He was
I
waiting
mean,
for
if
the
he was
third.
scaling for late game, it worked out for him, I suppose. But yeah, so slow second round aside, like the navigational elements of it were kind of interesting to me, at least, even though they weren't both world enders here. But yeah, I mean, really, it was Brychuk going back to the hunt in the third round that like why I want to give him a little bit more praise, because if he was scaling for late game, it worked out. He went back to the hunt, finds the target, executes the shot, solid striking, had Brad down on his knees. And then, yeah, the stoppage was definitely early. Brad was protesting immediately after, but still a quality win for Brychuk, I would say, in the grand scheme of things.
I don't know if you caught this. Now that you reminded me that he was protesting the stoppage, did you catch the mic audio? I assume the ref had a mic on because all you get is the audio of Brett Tavares. I'm
I'm
okay.
okay. I'm okay. I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah. Brad was not happy, and understandably so. I mean, but at the same time, Brad, you gotta go after your own win. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not trying to excuse the early stoppage because there were a couple of them on here. We had a lot of finishes, and not every one of them was 100% great. And this is definitely one of them, in my opinion. But at the same time, you're in a position, you're folded essentially. Like there were a lot of things that led up to that point that you could have done differently to not get yourself there and be in the position to have an early stoppage.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, I mean, Brychek obviously has made some improvements, and one thing I do want to say here when it comes to a fighter like Brychek, who obviously did not have a win in his first fight, had to make some adjustments. We'll talk about another fighter that this applies to a little bit later on in the card. Is that I feel like maybe we have become a little cynical and a little bit jaded over time to think that when these guys do not win their fights, or if they have a time where they have to leave the UFC and come back, that is an automatic indicator of the quality level they're coming back with. And fights like this, maybe we should leave a little bit of room for improvements.
Okay, yeah, so keep that in mind. I think there's a fight that comes up in actually, no, it's on the main card. We'll talk about that with a guy named Reese McKee. So,
Okay, yeah, though, yeah, that kind of just shoot that one in the foot a little bit, but but again, mixed bag. All I'm saying is that maybe not automatically go to it is what I'm saying, because the guys like Brychek here, I mean, like he obviously made some improvements, and came back really good.
I don't know. I would not agree with you. I do not think this dude is on his way to being anything other than a decent guy who just beat a guy who looked like the worst version of himself. The matchmakers clearly knew that Brad Tavares is not very good. If they can match him up with a dude who has one loss in the organization and it can be close at bare minimum, at worst he gets finished. So I don't think Brychek has much coming for you, dude. I don't think you're gonna be the one. If you're gonna be the one that when his name comes up, you can be like, you remember he knocked out Brad Tavares. Props to you, but I don't think he's gonna do much more than knocking out Brad Tavares
Well, I
in his
guess
career.
my point is that when we're going over individual fights, just to consider it in that instance, you know what I'm saying? Like when there are times that these kinds of things could happen, because I was pretty confident in Brad going into this one, and now it's like, all right, egg on my face for that, you know?
No, I
So
was too, so I get you.
yeah. But I think that really it all comes down to his mantra that we got in his post fight from Robert Brychek, which is, of course, never ever believe in yourself and give up.
Yeah, lovely. This is what's so beautiful about the sport too. Um, you could just have a language barrier and he could just attempt to say something very wholesome that is just not what it comes out to be. And then what's also cool about human nature, it's not about what you say or how you act, it's about how you make people feel. And I felt that, dude. Like, fuck, man.
Wisdom
Yeah.
is definitely great. So either way, yeah, no, I will definitely agree. This was not like a fireworks display by any means, but a win's a win, and Robert Brychek certainly got that. Brad Tavares back to the drawing board. How many more fights do you think Brad Tavares has left in him?
Like you said, dude, he's a Jim Miller. Come on.
True. All right, fair enough. I mean,
So
then he'll be around forever. So you'll come back better than ever next time, Brad.
hell yeah.
All right, moving on down the line. Real quick, shout out to everybody who's been hanging out with us, by the way. Of course, Leandro, shout out to you, brother. Mank, Hydra, Sierra West Coast, Sigma, and yeah, everybody. Appreciate all you guys in the chat.
Yeah.
Next fight up here is Sam Patterson versus Trey Waters. Yet another one that was called almost exactly correct. I think I had said that I thought Trey Waters would be able to weather the storm a little bit better than this, but I knew Sam Patterson was a dude who's been consistently underestimated, and this was a lot better of a performance than the last fight. And this is another knockout for Sam Patterson now in a string of them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Sam Patterson coming in here and getting a lot of finishes is good. Um, is he or is he not only finishing tomato cans? I'm not going to be the one to point that out any further than just saying that, but Sam Patterson is looking fun. He's at least finishing. You got to respect a guy who at least gets first round finishes. I don't know if he's seen a decision before, but he looks like he doesn't see them often. So I am definitely a fan. I can't actually remember how this one ended. It ended so fucking quick, as most of them do. But I know he knocked him out. I know he won. But I'm trying to think. did he
Oh,
wobble him?
yeah, no,
Like,
he landed a right hand and then just some good follow-up shots, and he just followed Trey around punching him as he tried to scramble for an exit and didn't let him have one.
nice, good deal. Yeah,
Yeah, no,
so
it
good
was stopped on
performance.
it was stopped on the feet, I will say that, but in this instance, personally, we've had the debate about whether stoppages on the feet are valid or not. This is a great example to me of a valid stop on the feet because Trey Waters was in a different dimension at this point.
Yeah, I think I actually do remember it a little bit now, but I wouldn't I wasn't mad about it in the moment. I mean, he was getting his ass whooped. So if I would have came to you today and said, "But like, bro, he shouldn't have stopped it on the feet," like, okay, but I definitely did not have that in mind. So it was probably warranted. But
Yeah, I would say so in this one. And trust you've heard me say, I'll say it again later on about ones that I thought were early stoppages. This was not one of them to me. So,
yeah,
but yeah, no, I mean, the only other thing I thought that at least for Waters' side, that it was somewhat even of a fight to start. At least there were a lot of jabs and low kicks going both directions, and the jab was working for Waters early. Patterson had a little bit of blood out the nose, a little bit of redness. Of course, he is pasty in English, so the redness shows definitively, and the blood, he definitely shows damage. But it really was just a stay with it, stay the course kind of thing. And Sam Patterson found the shot, so shout out to him. And I wanted to say to all of our English friends out there and all of the English MMA fans in general, such a strong community of fight fans in England. Everybody's getting behind the Paddy Pimblets of the world. I think that your guy Sam Patterson deserves a little bit more respect over here. I mean, it might be that he looks like the milkman, I mean, that could be the reason that people aren't fucking with him, but I think you need to push past the perception, judging the book by the cover here. I think Sam Patterson is a dude who deserves his props.
I definitely agree. I mean, after seeing this one, I mean, with a finish streak like that, I mean, dude, you got to be on the main card or something now. Like, fuck, man, prelims is crazy against a tomato can is nuts.
And
I need to see what's he welterweight? Michael Johnson? No, he's lightweight, ain't he? Hmm.
Michael Johnson, he's welterweight.
Oh, he did. Okay, yeah. So there we go. Yeah, Daniel Zohuber couldn't get the job done, so give it to Sam Patterson next.
Fair. I mean, I'd be okay with that. I mean, the dude is 14-2-1. I mean, it's a good record, honestly,
Hmm.
in the big picture. It's like, I think that he lost his debut, but has come back and finished every one of his fights since then. I want to say, don't quote me on that one, but if not, he's been doing very good since that first loss. And 14-2 is pretty good. I mean, it's not a bad record in general. So I really don't see any reason not to be rooting for this guy.
I agree. Yeah, no, he's pretty good and
Yeah.
pasty.
Yeah, so definitely that. Definitely that. I mean, that's just a note for all of the fighters of that complexion. They have almost like two fights to fight. You've got to get over the opponent and then over the optics of you wearing the damage.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah, but Sam Patterson, like I said, a big shout out to him because I really enjoyed this performance and I am a fan.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, speaking of England, next up is Kue Fernandez versus the short notice Harry Hardwick. Of course, Hardwick is in on 4 days' notice in this fight. He's up a weight class as well, so maybe we should be a little bit less harsh on him. But it's hard to be less harsh when you know how this fight ended. So take it away, Chase. What'd you think?
This fight, ooh, excuse me. This fight was pretty hilarious. I'm gonna go out. I think I've maybe said it already, but I'm gonna stand firm on it this time. Coy Fernandez is one of my least favorite fighters. Like I don't know what makes him so unlikable. Like I mean, he got a finish, dude, but like he just, dude, he's got a punchable face. He's got annoying demeanor. He thinks he's really fucking good. He thinks he's fucking Conor McGregor, dude. But I'm waiting for the day that bites him in the ass because he doesn't carry his hands near his face. So when he does that little step in shit, and he steps out and he steps back in and then he steps out and then he gets checked and he gets rocked to his ass, I'm going to be clapping and clip it, chat, because when it comes and I'm clapping when it happens, we're going to clip that too, and it's going to be one epic short for the fucking dude. Listen, Coy Fernandez, I mean, decent performance. Listen, I'm not going to say it was the greatest one ever. I mean, you are able to leg kick people, and to be honest, it's one of my least favorite fighting styles is just the spam leg kick guy, but you got to finish and I give it to you. But yeah, I mean, you're not Nalo for sure. You're not. You definitely didn't put on a
But
performance like that.
Chris Gutierrez is at home doing the
Yeah,
point.
yeah. Hey,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
and so, but no, Harry Hardwick, dude, this guy. we talk about leg kicks, and we talked about it for Contender Series. You just cannot come into the UFC and not be able to make out of the first round of leg kicks. You genuinely have to be able to take a full round of leg kicks, whether it's 20, whether it's 5, or whether it's 3.
How
You got to
about
be able to
checking
take
them?
them. Yeah, well,
How about checking one or two?
dude, some people listen. I've said it before, and I've said it again. Some people don't have to check. Some people can just eat it, and they're okay.
Oh, for sure.
Like
If they have the conditioning, absolutely.
Harry Hardwick is, well, I mean, not even just, I mean, yes, the conditioning is key to it, but like it's a mindset thing. It's like, dude, Nate Diaz and Yuri, they don't check leg kicks because they're just gonna walk forward no matter what. The
Sure.
legs aren't gonna work because they're gonna be asleep, kind of deal. So Harry Hardwick though, in no, dude, thinking about the way that he looked during this finish is absolutely ridiculous. Dude, he kicked him in the leg, and then Harry falls to the. It was actually a brutal watch because he kicks his first leg out for him, and Harry starts limping. Okay, he switches stance. He's walking for. Okay, he kicks his other leg out for him. Now he's limping on both, and he's hobbling to him. Coy Fernandez is just toying with him at that time because he thinks he's fucking Jesus Christ. And then we finally get the shot that ends Harry Hardwick, and he literally does a barrel roll. So he falls to his knees, falls to his back, and then does a 360. And if you think he's done once he got to his stomach again, you're wrong. He rolls back again to his backside. So by the time the ref calls it, he's looking at him like this. It's absolutely nuts. It's
It, like
absolutely nuts.
it like reminds me of like I can't think of a great example off the top of my head, but like in a movie where like a character is getting like absorbed by like the ground, like quicksand or something like that, and they're like reaching up to try to like that last gasp of air kind of thing. Like that's really what it looked like to me. And the look on Herb Dean's face as he's just looking down at this guy like struggling on the ground, not getting up, and he just casually puts his hands up to
Yeah,
wave the fight off is just like
you
that
made me
really
do this.
happened to you, brother. Yeah, that really was the thing.
There's another one later that we'll talk about where it's really funny the ref's discretion in these moments. It's like he's looking at him, he's done the 360, and there's still an opportunity that maybe he'll get up. He's like, come on, no,
Yep, yeah, exactly. Giving him
nope.
every chance to get back to his feet.
Yeah, and we'll talk about it later. I think the later one is an even more funnier example of that, but we'll definitely get into it.
Yeah, well, as far as this fight goes, I don't think you could have taken the words out of my mouth any better when you were talking about Fernandez. He is just there's something about him that's not likable, and like I hate to say that, but it's just like he really does have that face that you were talking about, and there's just like the style doesn't match the confidence either. I think is definitely the biggest part. His hand striking is so bad.
Hmm.
This dude he wings shots like so far out in like he has the satellite hands going as well.
I'll tell you who he fights like.
Hmm.
Robellis.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that a little bit. I mean, there are similarities there. I mean, I don't know if he's a Taekwondo guy himself, Fernandez, but there's some merit to that. Either way, it's a good thing that he spams kicks because that is really all he is good at. It would seem. I mean, and we've seen him lose
Yeah.
too. And I think he did a pretty similar kind of thing against Kuta Talatse as well. So, um, yeah, this seems like he is very much like a Chris Gutierrez. That the kicks are just what he is good at. Um, we talked about Hardwick's, lack of being able to take leg kicks. I mean, he must not have taken any in Cage Warriors because both were battered by a minute 30 into this fight. He was already labored in his gait by that timestamp, and a minute later, 2 minutes 30, this dude Harry Hardwick is wincing in pain with every step. He's got an egg-sized welt on one leg. He's got a tenderized shank of meat on the other leg. He trips himself at one point, probably due to pain. That was pretty funny. Fernandez ends up standing him up. I was like, there you go. Good IQ move to just stand him up if you're having that much success. So I'll at least give Kue Fernandez his props on that one.
I want to interject. No, it's not. As of somebody who is the leg kick master in the moment, you just immobilized him with leg kicks, and he's laying on his back with his legs in front of you. In my opinion, this is the one person I would say go for it. Kick him in the legs even more while he's laying there,
Could
but
have, yeah. I
I
mean,
digress.
he could have, but it's like, you could either kick him on the legs while he's on his back and then he's putting his weight on his back, or you could make him put the
I
weight on
get
his
you.
legs. So yeah, I thought it was all right in that moment. I mean, it wouldn't have mattered, dude. This guy, Harry
Yeah.
Hardwick, was so done by this point anyway. But yeah, he goes down again, tries desperately to stand up and count and cannot. So yeah, he was out for the count for sure. And then, yeah, Herb Dean with that look down, and that was about it.
I think there's a bigger story here that I don't know if you know about, so I'm going to enlighten you. Harry Hardwick, a couple years ago, got on Twitter. It was actually a really funny video because I watched the video, but this was before I knew that Harry Hardwick was like a fighter or anything. I just thought it was just like funny guys in a bar. It was Harry Hardwick in a bar with his mates, or maybe they were in the gym, but he's like, Anthony Smith is the shittest fighter in the world. Talk about Lionheart.
Really?
And oh yeah, then you get this performance out of him.
Yeah, no, I thought you were going to mention where apparently Harry Hardwick, I believe it was in Abu Dhabi, got on the mic at one of the press conferences and like was shouting him, trying to shoot a shot to say, "Hey, put me in the UFC," kind of thing. Which I also have seen the video. I saw the video of that one. I have not seen the video that you're talking about. But yeah, this Harry, and to that point, he asked for this fight specifically. Like they were saying that on the broadcast that like he found out that For As I Am had dropped out of this fight and was like, put me in. He said he called his manager, said, manager, get me in this fight, I want this fight. And then this.
Yeah, no, definitely really, really funny. I mean, Anthony Smith is the Lionheart, buddy, but you are not.
Yeah, I would say compared to this, dude, Anthony Smith is a fucking G compared to this guy.
True.
Get out of here, Harry Hardwick. But I don't know. I mean, sometimes people have that overinflated sense of their own abilities here. Maybe this is a little bit of Dunning-Kruger effect in action, but one way or another, the guy now knows that he needs to get his leg kick game in check here. I mean, either check those kicks or or
Or
condition
get it
their leg.
amputated.
Yeah, I mean, either way, he's going to have to regroup after his very long and drawn out ride in that wheelchair that they had.
Dude, oh my god, no, no, no. It's not even the fact that it's a wheelchair because it wasn't. I
It's like
don't
a
know if
wheelbarrow.
it was a dolly with like a seat on it, and it's like so he got on it, right? I don't know if you saw because you don't have Twitter. Well, you do, but you're not on it too much. When you as soon as that fight ended, I had to go to Twitter because they're like, "Did you see him in the wheelchair?" And I'm like, "No, I did not see him." But apparently, he got right on cage side, got right in the chair, waving, having a good time. And then so there's a backstage video of him where they're like, right when he gets out the cage and they're wheeling him like through the crowd or whatever. And he's just having a good time. Like, it's like really, really funny. Like just stupid stuff.
I mean, look, I guess like a Make a Wish kind of situation here. You got your UFC fight, buddy. So congratulations for that. Enjoy every moment of it. It probably is your last.
Yeah, 100%.
So, all right. Well, I mean, that was pretty much all there. A good job, I guess, to Kue Fernandez. I think that they said this was the 19th TKO due to leg kicks. So he's in a rare class having one of those. And I would not say that this gives me any great confidence going forward for him. If it had been For As I Am, I think that he would have gotten annihilated. But in this moment, he gets the win.
I just wanted to say shout out TJF.
Oh, hell yeah. Always that. Always that. Moving on to the next fight, though, we got Marcin Tybura versus Ante Dalia. This is the fight that we had mentioned that Dalia coming off of the PFL win. He is $1 million tournament winner. He is a training partner of Tom Aspinall. And you had said that, whatever he brings to the octagon is what you should take away as far as quality of PFL fighters goes. Do you think that that was an accurate statement based on what you saw?
To answer you first, what I think and what I said directly is that he has won $1 million from the PFL. This is going to be $1 million performance here. Now, I don't know if you guys are movie fans, but there's a movie out there created probably in the 80s or 90s called $1 Million Baby. And I'll tell you, this guy has got the hands that make the bread. This guy's good. I actually really enjoy what I was seeing here. But no, the more important things, obviously to your point, Tom Aspinall is training with all of the upcoming heavyweights because he's just not going to have fights He's refusing to fight all these guys, and then he keeps training with all these prospects so he can say that he's not going to fight them, and then he's going to complain that he doesn't have fucking fights. It's like, dude, you literally are not fighting the competition, and
Who's he refusing to fight?
all the fucking teammates. He said he's not fighting.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. I thought you meant
He's
that he was.
refusing to fight John Jones, buddy. So
Yeah, sure. No, I thought you meant that he was refusing to fight ranked guys and then was training with these guys, so he'd had nobody. But okay.
the most important thing about this guy is, and I tell you, if you did not notice this, you are one sick individual.
Oh, I noticed it. I know.
He
Go
has
ahead.
3 fucking nipples.
Third nipple power. It was all the chat was having a field day with the third nipple, and we were saying that this is obviously where he draws his power from. This phantom witch nipple that he's got there, and it was that he's got a bad one, bro. I mean, like some people have it, but like his has the
No,
pointy part and everything.
so if you are listening and you are not understanding what we mean, so when you look at a nipple, there's an areola, right? He does not have the areola for his third nipple. It is just the nipple part. So it's not like the brownish around it. It's just like the little. It's
No,
just like
he's
the
got the
little
brown
nipple.
too. He's got both.
No,
I'm
no, that
telling you,
just looks
bro.
like a big old pimple. That just looks like a big old third pimple.
But it's like a brown. It's like the same color as the whatever.
I
Anyway,
don't know, bro. The other ones are a little more. You can see like he has 2 nipples, and that third one is just like it's like peeking out there. Like,
yeah. Well, it definitely it's definitely a third wheel nipple for sure. It's quite
yeah.
noticeable. But I mean, as far as his fighting goes, this dude D'Elia fought like an old school heavyweight, and that is what I appreciated about this performance the most. Came out the gate aggressive, threw everything in the first round, gassed by 3 minutes in, and figure the rest out later if it doesn't work. That is old school heavyweight mentality, and I appreciated it.
You know what? Also, I'm actually surprised you didn't bring it up. I kept saying it in the Discord, but nobody seemed to see it. I am almost certain that they showed Mirko Krokop in the fucking in the
Oh,
crowd.
oh, they might. Was he in the crowd? He might have been.
Dude, it was a dude with the flag in the crowd, and I looked at him. I'm like, "Is that Krokop?" And
I mean,
then
I think
like,
that
and
all Croatian guys look that way.
I mean, yeah, I get you. That was also my second thought. Like, oh, why would he just be like in the nosebleeds? But
Yeah, that
it,
would have been a little wild if they made Crow Cop sit in the rafters.
well,
But
they didn't put him on the celebrity cam or nothing. So I was like, that didn't. But this was also before I'm like, oh, this dude is Croatian. I guess maybe that was Krokop. Maybe that makes sense. But it looked. And listen, I've seen this dude fight one time, but like he's got a very distinct face. Like you know what he looks like. So maybe they just do look like him over there. Maybe it's just a shortcut with no facial hair. I don't know.
could be. I mean, but to your point though, Chuck Liddell was in the crowd and did not get a celebrity cam himself. So that maybe they just weren't doing it. But it would be a little weird if they made a great of the sport sit in the nosebleeds. But either way, yeah, no, I mean this dude D'Elia, like he really did have like an old school mentality. Like that is how heavyweights used to fight. It's not always going to be successful. I mean, like you're going in with a plan of attack that has very diminishing returns because, like I said, the way that he was fighting, his cardio did look good though. So maybe he could last a little bit longer than 3 minutes if he was running gunning like that. But he was putting it all out there, kitchen sink up front, and then let the cards fall as they may. Tybura did do the right thing by trying to clinch up and slow him down, but D'Elia broke the clinch and just right back to heavy strikes. Got the knockout.
It's not just heavy strikes is what it was, is that they were very, very fast. I
Oh,
mean, for a
sure.
heavyweight, his punches, dude, I mean, he can rack up volume if, like you said, he can do it for more than fucking 2 minutes. But we'll definitely find out. We'll see how much power he ends up drawing from the nipple itself, and we will eventually see if he's going to be a heavyweight. But as of right now, I mean, he's nothing more than Kunaev, everybody. I mean, if you're listening right now, Kunaev and Auntie Dalia, same fucking person. At least
Oh,
Kunaev's ranked.
bullshit. Kanaev did not win his fight, my friend.
Yeah, but he was going against the third ranked guy he's who was coming off of a title championship loss. Marcin Tybura is fucking shite, but it's okay. He tries his best.
He is definitely a middling talent, I would say, and this was a more appropriate place for someone to come into the organization. So D'Elia getting the win over him does speak pretty loudly. I mean, he is now ranked off of this performance, so shout out to him for that. We'll see
Is
what.
that actually facts? I mean, we can check the rankings really, really quick. I'm
Oh,
actually
for
curious.
sure.
It is now Monday, so I'm not trying to hold you up a little bit, but let's
No, that's all
double
good.
check.
I mean, I would think that he took his rank. I mean, Tybura, I believe, was ranked 7th.
Martian Tibera is still ranked 7. So
I mean, they may not have updated the rankings just yet, but
so you say, but whatever. We'll wait.
well, I mean, you get you beat a ranked guy, you take his number. I mean, that's just facts of life.
But Taliesin Teixeira's he's still hanging around up there. You can't go higher than him, surely.
Well, so there you go. I mean, like that's just the state of heavyweight right now. People coming in getting ranked off of weird shit. So, yeah, this I think that what I saw out of D'Elia, based on all of that information, is that he definitely jumps over a lot of the other guys just coming into the organization. A little bit older, a little bit more experienced. Came in with an old school mentality, got a win off of it. If we could see a little bit of a return to heavyweight form in that regard, might not be the worst thing in the world.
I don't know. I mean, you would be saying this exact thing if Janice walked in there and just kicked Martian Tibera's head off. Like if Janice got that skyrocket and it actually panned out where he just kickboxed and knocked out Tibera with a head kick, you'd be all over it too. But we know now that Janice is not like that guy, like because he clearly can't do all the other things at a higher enough level. I think D'Elia, I mean, he showed that he can punch Tibera in the face because Tibera is slow and doesn't move his body. Like, it was really funny in the chat. Like, somebody in the Discord was like, why is Tibera's center of gravity in his fucking belly? Like, it literally is. Like, he's a blob, unfortunately. Like, and I mean, he's a game though. Like, I mean, he has a set style that he's gonna go in there and fight everybody with, and he's not gonna change it up because he's kind of the hammer, and he normally tries to hammer. If he doesn't, it doesn't fucking work, and that's just how it goes. So
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, if we're gonna have to see if D'Elia can hang on the ground. I mean, there's a lot of unanswered questions still, of course, but this is heavyweight we're talking about here. So really, like fight over fight, it matters more. The wins matter a lot more, like in the moment than they do in other divisions. So yeah, I would be saying that about Janice if he had won, but he didn't, and D'Elia did. And
I
also
agree.
D'Elia comes in with a lot more experience too. So maybe that speaks to what he could do. Is he going to beat Tom Aspinall? Of course, they're probably not going to fight, but could he beat someone like Tom Aspinall? I mean, that remains to be seen. I wouldn't put money on that, but
There's nobody like Tom Aspinall, dude.
not right now. There's not. But either way, I mean, that's the point though, is that it's like, yeah, you take the heavyweight accomplishments where they come because they're few and far between.
I fair.
All right. Well, let's keep it moving here then. Rounding out the prelims was Umar C versus Brinson Ribeiro. I thought that, talking about return to forms over here, I had said that if Umar C fought how he had fought previously in his career, then he could get this win. And I think he did that here.
I said it in the last fight. I said it about last fight. He needs to stop thinking he's a fucking striker. Go fucking wrestle and manhandle these people. Like, that's what you're good at. And if it doesn't work the first time, god damn it, do a different fucking takedown technique and do it again, dude. Like, stop fucking pussying out. So when you come in here against Brenton Herrera, who's a kill or be killed kind of guy, this isn't the grindy type of fight that you are gonna think it's going to be. You need to go in there and get him down and get him out because he's going to be dangerous. And if you think you're going to stand and strike with him with a dude who's I think he's got the longest reach in light heavyweight. I think that's what it is, something like that. Well, actually, both of them, but still, Omar's striking sucks, and Brenton is knocking people out on the feet, and he's done it before. Omar, good for him to get the takedowns and exploit the wrestling, and I think it worked into his advantage. And getting the finish was great. I was really confident that he also could finish here, but Decision Merchant, this could have very well just been a grindy performance for a really long time, but I'm glad it wasn't. So.
Well, you talk about C's striking not being so great when he staggered Ribeiro off of a jab like early in the fight. So what does that
I,
say?
I might have been lagging when that happened.
Yeah, it was like, well, it was, I think the first punch of the fight, I want to say it was very quickly into it, but ends up getting a nice takedown off of that. Basically, I mean, see with good forward pressure early in this fight, he had Ribeiro wobbled off of that jab, takes him down pretty effortlessly. I mean, Ribeiro, it's like this is the type of performance you should have against Ribeiro because he's not it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And that's unfortunate, but I mean, like what I say in totality about this fight is that it doesn't inspire a great deal of confidence in C going forward, because tougher guys with better ground game are going to be able to give this guy problems. Ribeiro is not that guy, so we just still have to see. I mean, if we're talking the difference between Ribeiro and Alonzo Menefield, there is a sizable jump there, but then Alonzo Menefield is still only top of middle to me. So what's the ceiling on C? I mean, I think that
Yeah.
it's, we don't know yet, and it might not be that high,
Yeah,
maybe.
100%.
So, but yeah, I mean, this was a fine performance overall. I mean, C banging Brenson's head into a TKO. This was the exact version of him that I had been talking about, wanting him to show up, pressure heavy, wrestle, dominate on the ground. That's all you got to do. It's like you said, relying on striking that's not there is not the way for you. It would be good if he could show some improvement in the striking, become more well-rounded, maybe get a little bit more power in his hands, a little bit more technique in the striking would definitely help round him out. But as of right now, this is exactly how this should have gone, and it went that way. So
Yeah, 100% agree.
yeah, so good deal. And I did note, I posted it in the Discord, but I thought it was a funny note that Brinson Ribeiro walked out to Personal Jesus by Depeche Mode, which is a great song, but I guarantee you he did not know what that song is about.
Yeah. Yep. I can agree. I did not know that about it either. So funny that you know things.
Yes, that song is about phone sex. If you are not familiar with that song, and it's, I think that my theory at least was that he wanted a song that had Jesus in the title, or something about Jesus to represent his religion, and that might have not been the greatest choice.
Yeah, I think my theory is that there was some guy who was super really religious and he was listening to Soldier Boy Kiss Me Through the Phone and he was like, I gotta do something like this, but it's gotta be obviously Jesus is on the other end of that phone, and obviously he's listening to my prayers and whatever you want to say.
Bingo, there you go. That's a fine analysis of the great Depeche Mode.
There you go.
All right, well, moving on to the next fight then. This is William Gomez versus Robert Ruchala. Ruchala is a training partner of Dustin Poirier. They made a big deal about him going 20 rounds with Dustin Poirier. Do you think that he showed 20 rounds against Dustin Poirier in this fight?
I did not know that at all, but you telling me that means nothing to me.
Absolutely
Um,
nothing. Yeah.
yeah, I mean that's absolutely hilarious. What I think is also hilarious, just to point it out really quick, look at the scoring for this fight on ESPN.
Oh, yeah, weird. 28 or 27, 28, and 28.
Yeah,
No
they
no 29s or 27s in there.
I mean, fair, just not even giving William Gomi a score on this one. I mean, he just fucking sucks. So I just don't think you should ever give him a scorecard because he's so boring. It's so crazy how boring he is because he genuinely does win fights. And we talk about these people who know how to win fights close. Like they can make it as close as possible and they know how to get that upper edge. William Gomi is one of these people, but like, my God. Is it like pulling teeth every time this dude fights? And you know it too. You're watching it and you're like, this is the best William Gomi has ever looked every single time. Like he looks great because that's his game, but what he does that is great, it's not a good fun performance. It's like, man, he is doing the William Gomi thing, but like, God, I fucking hate William Gomi so much.
Oh, that is to a T the assessment for me. I mean, I talked about this on the last episode, saying that like he was a guy that I always like kind of counted out, like almost intentionally, because he was a dude who never passed the eye test, not physically, but in his fights. Like the fighting itself never added up to the wins that he was ending up getting. So like this is a prime example of it. Now there was some real goofy stuff that happened in this fight, but if you break it down to the core elements of what worked for Gomez, it's just like it's very basic, it's very standard. Can it win against a Robert Ruchala? It can win. I really think that his ceiling is very, very low. I think that he's going to be bumping up against some guys. Like I was very surprised that he was able to beat not Brito, Joe Anderson Brito. Like I thought that was going to be the big check on this guy. He ended up winning that fight. Okay, fine. Like I thought that was going to be the time where it would differentiate him. I thought that was going to give him better competition. Some reason he ends up with Ruchala here. I mean, he had a couple of fights in between there or whatever, but like we have not seen him against like a guy who's a level above him. I feel, and when we see that, I just think that it's not going to go his way.
Yeah, dude, William Gomi, God, he's hilarious because like he knows that he's not entertaining, and he knows how to win fights, and he don't give a shit. It's funny because like I'm pretty sure this dude got cut. Like I'm pretty sure they cut him off the roster or his contract expired. But the fact they bring him back, if that's the case, they bring him back for the France card just for him to be the only fucking decision up until this point. Like, dude, you are really fucking lucky that your country loves you, because you are boring as all hell, kid.
Well,
Jesus.
I mean, you want to talk about entertainment value, though. I mean, we got to talk about the fact that he straight up Gomez, fucking oil checking Ruchala, like fingers all up in this guy's asshole in that first round clinch.
I don't think it's, it is the fact that he did it, but I don't think that's the biggest thing to note. The biggest thing to note is how quickly he went to that tactic. I mean, that way, the first exchange, he said, "Holy shit, I finger in the ass." I mean,
Yeah, it was a go-to move. I don't know. I worked out for him, I suppose. But I will give Gomez credit that he does kick well. He does have decent kicks. Like he utilizes distance decently with the kicking and stuff. So I mean, there is some benefit there. Decent in the clinch as well, aside from the oil checking situation. So I give a little bit of credit there. But I also think that in this fight, Rushala just wasn't doing enough himself. I mean, like he just wasn't landing, not doing anything with the takedown when he had it. Like, I feel like Gomez was able to generate more offense because he wasn't getting enough back from his opponent, which was hilarious because another funny thing that happened in this fight is that Rushala does the point to the ground. He says, oh, let's stand and trade. He has a kick that gets caught. Then he gets punched. Then he somersaults away to safety. Like he got punched so bad he had to roll his way out of there.
nice. Yeah, I think I remember that point. Yeah, no, this fight, absolutely dreadful. I'm pretty glad that we don't have to talk about it long, because it's not like William Gomi is ever going to provide a highlight that we need to go ahead and to break down in depth, or if he's ever going to have a story that makes you want to talk about him or any performance that has, in the upcoming future for him. Like, this dude's genuinely, when you talk about, I mean, cookie cutter isn't really, I mean, if you're talking about cookie cutting, just aspects, skills, and fucking region he's born and fucking upbringing, like, sure. Yeah, he's just thrown into a pot, and nothing likable to the characteristics. I don't know. This dude, I knew he was gonna win, but like, brother, just stop winning at this point. Just stop. Like, it'll be no, seriously. I say that as a joke, but like, I'm not laughing when I think about it. Like, dude, you could go out here and get knocked out, and we would have so much fun. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think that that's pretty accurate. I do think that that moment in the third round when Rushala was on his knees looking off into the distance in the sky, like maybe that was him like agreeing with us. Like, man, I just wish that this fight was over for everybody.
Yeah, no, I mean, if William Gomi if he's a man of the people and he wants to put on an entertaining show, you better be ready to get knocked out this next performance, because I'm definitely done. Yeah, I just to show retaliation. Next William Gomi fight, I'll turn the TV off and I'll come back on Monday. And if you tell me that something good happened, I'll pay up something. But as of right now, I bet I won't miss a single thing. So
All right, clip it. In the meantime, 2-1 Gomez was the right call. Unanimous decision win is fine. But I really do think that Rushala just was not doing enough on his end of the bargain here. So Gomez skates by with a win that he, essentially like he earned, but it's like, yeah, that's what's going to happen when you're not getting anything back.
yeah, 100%.
All right, moving on. Reese McKee versus Axel Sola. First and foremost, do you agree that Axel Sola looks like one of the Jonas brothers in the face? Please tell me that you see this, because chat was disputing me on this. This dude looks like Nick Jonas in the face. I'm firmly believing in this.
You want my answer?
Yes.
Okay. Chat, clip this. I don't listen to the Jonas Brothers. I don't know what they look like. Sorry to break that to you, but I mean, sure. Does he look like a pretty boy? Yeah, maybe. Did
Nick
Reese
had a great song called "Jealous," by the way. Anyway, go
No,
ahead.
the only one that I know is "Burning Up," I think is what it's called. I know that one.
See, so you're lying right here.
I mean, come on,
This dude's
I
talking shit.
doubt, I doubt. No.
Anyway, all right. Well, so what do you think
So
of the fight?
The fight was, I mean, it was definitely fun. I mean, Reese McKee is a wild man. This is why I really don't like betting on him. Well, I mean, when I say really don't really like betting on him, based off the last two performances, I'm not going to be betting on him. Is what I would say is because he's just too wild. He's too unpredictable, and clearly. Is susceptible to body strikes. So this fight, it was just a slugfest, but I can't really remember too much going on before the finish. All I remember, they were punching each other, people were bleeding in the mouth, people were getting beat up. The striking numbers here for a third round fight, I mean, God, they really must have been inactive for what I'm remembering. I mean, but then Reese takes a body shot that was actually, you could see it coming, which is a beautiful thing about this sport. So Axel lands a really big, heavy body strike. Body hook, and Reese reacts to it. He hits him with the and then he's ready, he's got the elbow tucked for the next one, and then they get in the clinch, and then he gets him one more time with another body strike, and Reese folds and falls to the ground, but he literally fell into a single leg. He was trying to go for a takedown. There was no need to stop it. Even when he started to take strikes, he was not defending himself, but he was looking for the position to advance to. He was definitely in this fight. Wasn't like it wasn't going to do him much justice to stop it, or to let it continue. Probably he was still going to lose by finish, most likely. But at that moment, just because he fell to the mat, going to the mat as an offensive and defensive move. So I don't know. That's just crazy to think, but.
No, I agree. This was definitely an early stoppage. McKee probably was on his way to getting 30-27 or finished, but this was
Mhm.
absolutely an early stoppage. Yeah, unfortunate, but it's the same note that we had for Brad Tavares. It's like, there are a lot of things that lead up to that, and this is a great, even a better example, I would say, of that theory in motion. It's like, you had a lot of opportunities, and he was trying. I mean, that third round was probably McKee's strongest round. I mean, he came out the gate pretty decent with heavy pressure on his side, good shots going there, but it really was the fact that Sola has really nice straight punches. Like this dude has straight shots that are very like technically proficient. I thought that he has really good fast twitch movement as well. Like he moves nicely because he has that wide karate stance, but like he can still utilize it. His footwork is very good with that stance. So like those things all paired together ended up being a pretty well-rounded fighter. I thought I was actually pretty impressed with Sola. Now, granted, it is Reese McKee, so we're gonna have to see him against somebody who's a little bit more technically proficient on their own side. But this was a pretty competitive fight, even though it was skewed in Sola's favor, I wanted to say. I mean, like, Sola was definitely in the lead in most of this fight, if not all of it, but Reese was doing enough to keep it active, to keep it like, it might have been maybe 1-1 going into that third round if you're generous even. So, you know.
Yeah, Reese is just one of these game fighters that you'll give him anybody and everybody that potentially is gonna be a finisher. And Reese McKee, I even brought it up on the last episode. This is a guy who has just lost in the UFC every time he's been here. I mean, he has one win in the UFC, and it's against a guy who never had a win in the UFC. So you have to take everything with a grain of salt with Reese. He is skilled, and he is impressive, and he does have that dog in him. But can you put hard earned currency on him as a shoe in bet? No, you have to genuinely know that it is a gamble with him.
Oh, no, I thought that you nailed it earlier on when you said that you won't bet on him anymore. That was my assessment immediately after this fight is just, yeah, just stay away from Reese McKee fights, to be perfectly honest. There's no, the juice is not worth the squeeze unless you really, really
I
need
like
some
that.
third level of your part. Yeah, unless you really need a third leg of your parlay really bad for some reason and it's a complete lock. I mean, I thought this was supposed to be the lock. This is a guy coming in of another organization. I mean, I think that he's I believe, an Aris FC guy. I want to
Mhm.
say. So it's like, I mean, if you want to rank the regional promotions or whatever, like Eris is certainly not high on that list. We've talked about France being a developing market in mixed martial arts. I'm sure that they will eventually become more represented and more prominent in the sport. But right now, Eris would not be like the top of the list of people graduating, potential future champions over here. And this guy looked really good to me, again, comparatively. So Reese McKee, I don't dislike him. I will definitely, enjoy watching his fights, and he can certainly put up a good fight. But I will be very cautious to ever bet on him again, if ever.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, with the record that he leaves in the UFC, I mean, Jesus Christ, he can't stay around forever. So that's just
And
all
also,
I'll say.
yeah, and the other thing I wanted to mention too, because I mentioned it earlier, Reese is another guy that suffers from that very, very white complexion, and he is a dude who also wears damage very heavily. A couple of pops, and this dude was bleeding all over the place. So, as far as like optics go, you got to factor that in as well when you're making your bets, because even if he had made it to decision and it had been very, very close, it still might have gone the other way just because he wears the damage so badly.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So
Yeah, I mean, yeah, God, Reese is just one of those guys that you throw everything at, and he's still going to come back. But throwing everything at him is most likely going to work. So
yeah, right, exactly. So too much of a wild card. Don't bet on Reese McKee in the future.
yeah.
But Axel Solo, however, maybe there's something there. Possibly, I want to say
Mm,
cautiously. We'll have to see how he fights against somebody who's a little bit more technically proficient.
tentatively, I will agree.
Bingo, exactly. Tentative keyword. Let's move on here. Somebody who has proven himself now a little bit better, and somebody who I'm liking more and more every time that he fights. Balaji Oki versus Mason Jones. Oki came in with the Kevin Randleman blonde hair in this one, but it did not have the intended effect because Mason Jones is that dude.
I think he always has blonde hair. I don't know why people are making a big deal about
I
that.
don't think he had it in the last fight.
I'm pretty sure he did. I'm pretty sure when he fell asleep on Chris Duncan, he was with blonde hair, but I could be wrong.
No, but the last one was Michael Aswell.
Well, either way. So I think this fight it almost went how I expected because I was actually very confident that as Balaji Oki, we talked about Michael Aswell, has maybe he just has a granite chin or maybe Oki is just not powerful. I was decently confident that Oki was going to shock the world with his power and he was going to knock Mason Jones' head off, and he got him down. I mean, he almost did. He knocked him down, damn near got the early finish, but once he didn't get that, I mean, Mason Jones, very, very skilled from Wales. I mean, Jesus Christ, this guy, he can do a little bit of everything and a lot of bit of, most things. So he's just, I don't know, man. He's just very, very good. And the fact that he worked to a finish on here was very impressive. Not even just that he got the ground and pound. He went for a sub too. I mean, he was gonna get this finished either way. And I thought inside the distance was the safest bet on this. I think I remember saying that on the pod. Like inside the distance is like the way to go here because you genuinely just don't know. I mean, and it played out that way. I mean, Oki dropped him in the first. Mason Jones drops him later in the fight and then gets on top of him and finishes him. I mean, this was a back and forth if I've ever seen one.
That first round is a beautiful example of an entire fight in one round. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like like it's rare that you get those, but there are occasional fights that those happen in where it feels like you've just witnessed an entire 3-round fight in one round, and that's certainly what that first round felt like because they were back and forth with the knockdowns. I mean, Mason Jones showing such a tremendous grit and determination to stay in this fight because he got dropped not once but twice. He went down, got back up, and got dropped a second time, all in quick succession. And while he is on his back fishing for the hooks, trying to make sure that he can get himself, in a position to recover, he somehow does all of that with Oki swarming the hell out of him. I mean, he really was going for the finish, and he did not get it. So, I mean, like it was very, very impressive for Jones to be able to stay in this shot. Got back up, taking heavy shots again, right back to it though. I mean, like Oki is definitely. To your point, I will say that I was one of those people that thought that Oki might not have been as powerful as his physique may have led one to believe. I'll give it to him. I mean, the guy can definitely, like, there will be chins that he will be able to test and will be able to knock down off of. So I'll give his credit there because he certainly put down a tough customer in Jones for a second there. But after all of that adversity, Jones ends up dropping him all in that first round as well. So drop on either side there. And I mean, Jones did exactly what I was hoping to happen, because what I had said on the last episode was that Jones comes in with not only the toughness to be able to withstand the damage that he was taking here, but also the wrestling base. And you saw that. I didn't realize he was a judo guy, but you definitely saw that in that beautiful up and over toss that he had there. I think that was in the second round.
Mhm.
takes him one side, pulls him across. Beautiful toss there. Big elbow in the ground and pound for Jones in the mount. I mean, he was doing really everything right after taking some heavy damage in that first round. This was a performance that I really just I thought that it said so much about Mason Jones. And again, we talked about him coming into the promotion for a second time and the adjustments and all that. If Reese McKee is on one side of the equation, Jones is on the other side of the equation as far as guys getting a second shot.
I definitely agree. Yeah, I mean, he's somewhere. I don't know. I mean, he's basically, he might as well be good as Zalal. I mean, he's a little more entertaining, in my opinion, for people who are in their second stint in the UFC. I mean, damn, he came back. Listen, and I don't want to be the one. I actually did think about it while you were talking about it. Oki, he knocked down Mason Jones, which the hardest hitting featherweight of all time couldn't even do. So I would just like to point that out to you. So
Who the fuck is that guy? Um,
exactly.
but yeah, no, I mean, Mason Jones has shown to me, based on the last two fights that we've seen, tremendous improvement. And I mean, granted, like if you go back and look at the record, we talked about that on the last episode. The record that he left the UFC with probably didn't even really deserve it in the big picture. Like, I mean, I think that he was what one 0-1 or 0-1 or something like that. I mean, he had a no contest and he had a loss, and maybe it might have been 1-1, whatever it
Mhm.
was. It wasn't like he had 5 losses in a row or anything like that, or was like really racking him up. But for whatever reason, he ends up comes back and shows just that he has made some amazing adjustments on top of being tough as nails to begin with, and
Yeah,
a sound technical fighter on top of all of that. This was fight of the night in my opinion, and I think Mason Jones deserves all the respect here.
100%. No, definitely 100%.
Yeah, so I was really, really happy with this one. And you had mentioned too about Oki almost having that Kimura. So I mean, Jones obviously has submission game as well. Shout out to Oki for being able to survive that, because that thing looked nasty for a second.
100. Oh, dude, yeah. Love a Kimura, but man, when they happen, I gotta look away sometimes.
That was one of them too, because I remember on the watch along saying, "Oh, brother, please tap because that thing looks really bad." And somehow he was able to worm his way out of it. So, good deal. Props to Oki for some of the two-way action in this thing, because he did have his moments there, and you can tell that the boxing is definitely there. He needs to work on that ground game. That's the big glaring hole in his game. You don't get jump guillotined by Chris Duncan and then have the wrestling happen to you here, plus the grappling from Mason Jones. Like you can't just be a boxer, brother. You got to be a mixed martial artist. So hopefully Oki can make some improvements in that department, because I do think his striking is pretty good. But this was the Mason Jones show.
I could see a career in dirty boxing coming for Oki here because I'm not seeing it in the UFC after getting smoked like this. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, smoked. He did knock him down, but it's you're right. I mean, something that is purely striking is probably going to be a better fit for him, a better suit. But give him another shot. He's entertaining for sure. I mean, he definitely is a guy that goes out there and puts it on the line. So I give him a lot of credit for that.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. I mean, I could see more of them. Sure, we'll
All
go
right.
with it.
Either way, but you might be right though. I mean, his days might be numbered, his fights might be numbered, but either way, Jones on the other hand, stock raising very high for me. And now that we do not have Jack Shore and Cutie Pie Corey McKenna's out of the equation, we need a guy from Wales to carry that flag.
I often feel bad that after every single fight, we normally are like, well, if it's not a win, it's like, well, what's next? I mean, obviously, after one loss, you don't question a ranked person after one loss. What's next for them? Are they going to get cut? But like somebody like Balashioki, I mean, I think it's good to feel like they're on the chopping block. It's like, yo, you need to be fighting every fucking time for an opportunity to continue. It's like, yo, if you think this loss right here is maybe your last instance, you're gonna train a lot harder for the next one. So I don't know. I'm not trying to say, okay, you need to get your ass up out of here, but you do need to train a little harder, or you are going to get your ass up out of here.
Well, and it's the narratives. It's the narratives that you're creating, because what we have seen from Oki now is the jump guillotine. We saw that he can strike very proficiently against a guy who's very tough but couldn't finish him. And now this.
Hmm.
So it's like, you go fight over fight. And what you're seeing here is that you're seeing glaring holes in the ground game, and you're seeing a technically proficient but not finishing guy on the feet.
Yeah,
So you're writing your own story every time that you fight, and Oki needs to improve the story that he's telling us.
100%.
So, But yes, again, I don't mean to keep the glaze going too hard, but I was very impressed with Mason Jones here, and I very much look forward to seeing him fight again. He's making a big fan out of me.
No, I actually agree with that a lot. Yeah, Mason Jones is somebody who's I used to say like, who is Mason Jones? Like this random Mason Jones guy, but like no, genuinely, Mason Jones is somebody that when his name comes up, I will be interested to see who it is.
Absolutely doing it for Wales, like I said. Love it. All right. Well, this one was a little bit sadder of a case here. This is Modestas Bukauskas versus Paul Craig. What I had said about Paul Craig was that he was probably on the chopping block. So it looks like he got out in front of it because he did not win this fight and ended up retiring thereafter. But what did you think of the fight itself, Chase?
This fight sucks. Fight sucked.
Did it?
We almost got three more round. Well, we almost got 3 rounds of it had we not got a buzzer beater finish on there. But yeah, no, this first round sucked. Once it got to the end sequence, I mean, they were cuddling for a little bit, and then Modestus decides to wait until the literal last second of the round to land the most gruesome elbow that you've seen. And I know I brought it up earlier with the early stoppage with Harry Hardwick and him rolling around and Herb Dean, like giving him the look like, come on, like I'm giving you this last millisecond. He's looking at Paul Craig, who's lifeless. And what's interesting about this one, and I didn't see anybody like really talk about this, so I'm going to be vocal about it. If Rodolfo Bellotto is truly trying to be an actor aspiring to be. I mean, that is how you act unconscious and wake up. I mean, you don't jolt back into fucking life and be terrified of life. No, you literally are laying there in a pool of your blood. You try to move and your body fucking denies it. So it is what it is. Paul Craig was left dead in that ring, basically retiring on that note. Honestly, you probably should have gave another one because you're making Bukowskis look like he's some dude. Like, man, you got retired, but Modestus Bukowskis, this dude sucks. Like another Tom training partner, by the way. But
Yeah,
he's
it's
not gonna
true.
obviously fight him. So
Well, yeah, this was not a great look for Paul Craig in general. He just had very little by way of powerful accuracy at all in this fight. Like he put out a partially blocked spinning side kick and threw a couple of knees in the clinch, and that was pretty much the entirety of that round for Paul Craig. I mean, yeah, you can talk about Modestus Bukauskas with the 30 seconds left, and Paul Craig making it so easy for him jumping guard. That was the other big portion of this. That was just like why Paul Craig. But yeah, I mean, so the finishing sequence was that Paul Craig, jumps guard, and then just Bukowskis like did not go down with him. He did not have his neck to take him down to the ground in the jump guard. So Bukowskis is like, thanks, I'll take it, and just starts pounding on him. But it's like Bukowskis didn't really do all that much outside of that, but then somehow cracked him with that heavy elbow thereafter. So it was like, yeah, you're right. I mean, it is an inflation of Bukowskis. Unfortunately, because we've seen Bukowskis not be great before, and he probably will not be great again. Because I saw people talking about, why is Modestus Bukowskis not getting a ranked guy already? Give this guy a ranked guy. And I was like, we've seen why he's not getting ranked guys,
whoever is saying that, dude, go find them and block them. Seriously.
Yeah, for real. But no, it was just a bad look for Paul Craig all around in this fight. He didn't look like he wanted to be there. He looked out of sorts. We'll talk about another fighter coming up in a second who had that same kind of look on his face, but this was an early version of that. And yeah, I mean, it was just nasty work that elbow landed as flush as it did and knocked him cold out. It was with 1 second left before the round ended. But it was definitely a knockout shot, and he was gone from that. So, right decision to retire because he definitely was getting in front of getting cut, I would say. And yeah, I mean, I thought Modestus looked, pretty sharp considering that. But again, we've seen the totality of Modestus Bukauskas, and it's not this.
Yeah, I'm just not sold on Bukowskis. I could give a shit less what this dude does after how he looked in his last performance, other than Paul Craig. Uh, Inconsistent is all I'm seeing out of him. I mean, he hasn't done it every single time that I've shown up to watch him. So there's always going to be room for me to question. I'll just take my hand out the hat there. I'm just not in on Bukowskis. I'm just not in on it. Paul Craig, definitely in on you retiring. get up out of here, mate. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I mean, look, you cannot take away the fact that Paul Craig has wins over several champions and former champions. I mean, beat Ankalaev, beat Jamal Hill, and also one that people don't remember, but Shogun Hua also beat by Paul Craig, former champion as well. So, I mean, he certainly had his time in the sun. He had said it himself in the Octagon interview, the father time comes for us all kind of thing. He's getting old, and good of him to recognize that before having to take any more damage. I'm glad that Paul Craig is not going to be one of those guys that is continuing to try to push on and fight past the time to hang it up. So, I'm glad he recognized that. Shout out for all of his achievements, but that end of career path was pretty rough. So, definitely the right time to hang him up.
Yeah, too bad he didn't realize this before the Bo Nickel fight, but no big deal. So.
Well, at least if you didn't get that fight, you never would have seen what it looks like in real life when two video game characters are sitting in
Idle.
idle animations. Yeah, no, I mean, we might have had a better fight with Borralho if Borralho hadn't have gotten the Oscar that fight. So I mean,
And herpes.
Yeah, well, we already had that. That is definitely true. Yeah. Whatever. I mean, Paul Craig, like I said, congratulations on your achievements. Definitely the right time to hang him up.
100%. And why was this on the main card?
Because people had faith. People wanted, again, Paul Craig beat Ankalaev, man.
Fair. Okay.
That's why. You can't have so much recency bias as to not understand why these things happen that way.
I mean, I get you.
Wins over 3 former champions and former and current. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you on that one.
So the work speaks for itself, but the previous couple of fights also speak for themselves as well.
True.
All right. Well, someone who did some better work here, Benoit Saint Denis, and his fight with Mauricio Hufi here. We've got a friend named Rwand who is very fond of the term fraud check. I'm not particularly fond of that term myself, but this actually did kind of feel like one here, Mr. Hufi. You called it yourself in the last episode of this show, saying, we're going to have to see what Hufi's like on the ground. Well, now we know.
Yeah, nothing. So this fight, I mean, there's just not much more to say. What I will say is I don't know if my opinions have changed. I do not think Benoit Saint Denis is back in full form. I mean, yeah, he does look as good as he does, but his fighting style, I still am not. The Marauder is just not a viable base for a champion in the sport. Like, you can't just be the dude who gets his ass whooped and then comes back and wins. I know that didn't happen in this one, but like, that just can't be your game plan. Now, it didn't happen in this one. Surprisingly, everybody figured Mauricio was going to actually get something off here. Got nothing. Didn't even have a single strike that made you think like, oh my gosh, he got him. Like, no. Benoit Saint Denis fought like he was in a pool again. He's slow as dirt when it comes to strikes and with setting things up, but he genuinely is a fighter. So he brings the fight to you. He's always it's really funny that he's in he's in a set position where he's got one hand that he throws the jab and then one that he reaches down with. Like, and he just like runs at you like that, and it's pretty scary. So shout out to Benoit, but I really don't think I have much more to say. I mean, he got his back and got him in the choke. It took a long time for Hufi to actually give into it. I mean, he wasn't going to get out of it, so I guess tap is your only option there, because you're just going to breathe slowly until you do not breathe anymore. Or if you keep breathing, you're just not going to get out of the position. You're just going to sit there for 3 more minutes. So
you get your friggin' jaw dislocated is what you get. I mean, he was in a face crank or neck crank that was really, really solid. So shout out to Benoit for achieving that at least. But yeah, I mean, this was, I would say that really, I'm agreeing in broad terms with what you're saying about Benoit and him being a style that's easily figured out, but that's essentially what I had said about Hufi, and I'd been saying about him for the longest time. So this really was somewhat satisfying, even though I really wasn't preying on the guy's downfall or anything. I just kind of anticipated it. But yeah, I mean, I thought that Benoit couldn't have navigated this fight better based on what he does well. And what we had not seen from Hoofy is exactly what he used and used effectively. And what Hoofy did not have was any kind of ground game whatsoever, because Benoit was immediately in Hoofy's face, got past all of the flashy stuff that could have happened. Now, Hoofy looked like a deer in the headlights in this fight in general. He looked like he was just out of sorts. And I don't want to chalk this up to him having a bad night, because it definitely was not that. It was the wrestling and pressure of Benoit Saint Denis. But it did not help that he looked like he was completely just in a different world in a lot of this fight, partially because I think that he was not expecting to be pressured the way that he was. But all that early pressure got right past any of the flashy stuff that he would have been able to do. It did not give him any of the room to do it, which is exactly what he should have done. Got Hoofy to the ground early, and the lack of ground game showed immediately on Hoofy's side. There was one time, which one was it? It was when well, actually, there were two times that this happened, but the moment that it became very apparent to me was when Hoofy was able to reverse the first takedown, or one of the first ground exchanges there. He was able to pull a reverse, got on top, and then immediately disengages and stands up BSD. And I was like, that is where you know that there are problems on the ground, because he there were so many other options that you could have had from top down, like, and if you had any of those skills in your arsenal, then you at least go for them. But for him to just immediately say, nope, I am not doing any of this ground grappling, I'm not doing anything down here, I was like, this dude Hoofy is a stand up or die kind of guy, and he ended up dying on the ground.
Yeah, what's crazy about his style is, and a lot of people do have that style where it's like, run and gun and, figure it out later. But the key with a lot of that is, if you don't have the grappling to back it up, you have to be able to at least stall long enough to get standing again at the new round. If Hoofy is going to get choked out in round two, I mean, that ain't gonna get five, Chief. That ain't gonna get you enough. If you can't get the knockout before they get you down and choke you out, I mean, mate, you better learn how to lay on your back a little longer. The Tafas know how to do it. I mean, I'm pretty sure Junior Tafa was able to have less control time on him before he gets subbed by Tuco Tucos or whoever it was. But whatever it is. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. I mean, he had one good jump knee. That was the one thing that Hoofy did make happen. He had one good thing he was able to accomplish, was he had a jump knee, but Benoit was able to go right through it. I mean, like, it was just, it didn't affect him. Benoit can take a shot. I mean, like, it's crazy to think that Renato Moicano was able to amass as much damage on Benoit Saint Denis as he got, considering how tough of a guy he is. And we've seen him in some really grudgy matches before. And he's been, all kinds of messed up and fought through. I mean, it also kind of speaks to the power of Dustin Poirier, I would say, as well, that he was able to put him away. But the jump knee didn't do it. I mean, Hoofy just hesitant to engage in that second round, after all of the wrestling, I would say. I mean, that was a big portion of why he was that deer in the headlights I was talking about as well. So there was really no path to victory for Hoofy in this fight, with those circumstances. If that's going to be the case, if you have nothing on the ground and you're now scared to get into striking range because you don't want to get taken down again, I don't think there's any amount of creativity in the world. Now, this actually goes back to something that was said in the watch along chat. I think it was Hydra. Shout out to Hydra, who was saying, I had said, what's your counter argument to BSD winning this fight? And Hydra had said that, oh, well, it's Hoofy, who is a more on his feet, quick to adjust, on his feet, better coached fighter. And I'm like, on paper, that actually all kind of tracks. I'm like, okay, there could be something there. We saw in this fight that is not the case.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, BSD just made it look too easy, and we know BSD is not the type of guy that loves an easy fight. I mean, it is easy to make it hard on BSD as his opponent. I mean, he shows that before Kyle Prepelic. I mean, he put that dude through. He gave him black eye in 2 minutes on the feet. Whatever you want to say. Mauricio Hoofy couldn't even land one strike. I don't know. BSD, I don't think this is the coming out party, but great performance, especially in France.
For sure. And I mean, the commentary talking about this being the biggest win of his career is kind of laughable to me, because of the fact that Hoofy had not been tested in this way. So it's like, yeah, it's the biggest win of his career because Hoofy is a name. He's a fighting nerd. It's all the things that you surround him with. But as far as skill for skill goes, this is just another win.
I think I disagree with you. I mean, the most important win to date. I mean, when you
Well, it's
look
the
at
most important, but the biggest.
no, no. I mean, I still agree. I still think I agree with that statement. If you want to talk about the biggest win to his career, I mean, the last three people. I mean, Kyle Prepelik, obviously not. But he didn't beat Dustin Poirier, which would have been the biggest win of his career. And the one before that was Matt Frivola. Like, is that bigger? Is that bigger than Mauricio Hoofy? No.
No. Yeah, I mean, it is, but it's still just a laughable concept, I think is what I'm trying to say. You know
I
what I mean?
get that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, because like if Hoofy had come in as a world ender on the ground as well on the feet, then yeah, this would be like, wow, BSD really fought through everything to make this happen, but he didn't have that much opposition in this fight. So again, I think it's the biggest win of his career by name value, by
Mhm.
what it accomplishes, what he did to Hoofy's trajectory and all the mystique around him. But in the big picture, it was a guy who doesn't know how to do anything on the ground. That's anybody in that situation is going to have the same outcome.
Yeah, true.
So is what it is. But okay. With that all being said, before we move on to the main event, as far as Hoofy goes, how do you think that he navigates this now? Because he's now had a huge hole in his game exposed.
Um, was it or was it not? I mean, I think going forward, at least right now, there's still hope that maybe he just had an off night. I think that's my likely reasoning is like he just wasn't all the way there. He's definitely has something on the ground, and then him back on the feet against a tomato can next time. He's going to go ahead and win. Of course, they're going to do whatever they can to get the nerds back in the spotlight. Um, but I'm going to go ahead and give him the benefit of the doubt. I'll give him one more opportunity against a grappler, but I don't think they'll give him a grappler. So.
Yeah, they're gonna want fun striking affairs with him now
Mhm.
that they know that this is the case. Yeah, anticipate him versus a guy who never goes to the ground.
True.
All right. Well, all that being said, main event of the evening was Nasruddin Imavov and Caio Bahayo. I mean, the sniper on full display in Imavov. Sharp, crisp striking, forward pressure.
This was one 25-minute round. I mean,
Yeah.
there was nothing too crazy here. I mean, Imavov just led the fight the entirety of the time, and I thought, that's exactly what I was watching. Striking numbers look even. Holy shit, the fact that they landed 89 in 5 rounds, and I've seen Josh Van land 250 in three, but whatever you want to say. This was a decent fight, but it was definitely not entertaining. I mean, when it comes to the martial arts aspect, these dudes were at range and they were throwing strikes and they were calculating what they were doing. It was a little too much of that. It was not enough go for it, I want to be the champion type of deal. Neither of them were really ready to just throw it down. But Imavov was obviously winning and in the driver's seat, so why would he do that? It was up to Kaio to really make something happen, and he just genuinely never did. And whether he was in his feelings about his buddy, I don't know. Would hate to believe that that's how they operate there. But I mean, you saw protests in the crowd. I saw the video. I was even praising Jean Silva. I'm like, out of all the nerds that now that I've seen how they react to each other losing, like I think Jean Silva would be the only one to like not give a shit too much. Like. But no, I've seen a video of him crying already too when Rufi lost. It's like, yo, get over it. Like people fucking lose. A protest in the crowd with Ian Gary doing the fucking crying shit. Come on, let Hoofy. If you thought he was going to be the greatest of all time, bro, you don't need to cry over the dude. Like, I mean, losses happen. This is even better for him. He's going to be better now that he lost, and you should understand that. But like, let's fucking bring the waterworks. I don't know. So if Kaio was genuinely just upset and couldn't perform, I mean, I'm kind of writing him off as my option for a champ here soon if that's what gets to him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If that's the case, then definitely. I think that he said it himself pretty well in his Octagon interview. He was just like, I couldn't get the adrenaline going. I just couldn't get into this fight. The note even before he said that in my own mind, as I was like mentally noting things during this fight, was that he just looked like he couldn't get out of second gear for all of this fight. I mean, like he had his comeback in the fourth round, so you can give him that fourth round if you want to. I think that. Yeah, one judge did not, but I think that it would be right to give him that fourth round. But it wasn't anywhere near enough. He just wasn't in it. He wasn't putting out uh, any kind of impactful offense that was enough to negate what Imavov was doing. Imavov was just keeping a slow, steady. It was like slow and steady wins the race. I mean, like that's really what it was. It was crisp, good combos, like you said, calculated. It was calculated combos. Like Imavov has an interesting deal when he's not getting pressured heavily, where it's like he has like a almost slightly robotic, I want to say, but like it works for him. It's like it's combos, but it's never more than 3 shots. It's 1 2 1 2 3 back out. It's just if you wait for it, wait for the opening, get it, get out, kind of, and he just repeats that pattern. And if you don't put the pressure on him, he'll repeat that pattern till the fight is over, and that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, this one, I wish it would have been a little more exciting because I do like both of these guys. But when you get top tier opponents, I mean, sometimes they're just too good. They're just too good of opponents against each other, and they don't make it fun for you. Not everybody wants to get knocked out. So,
Yeah, well, I mean, that kind of is concerning if these are two top tier opponents that feel that way or that fight that way against each other, because both of us, I believe, said that the performance that we saw from Nasruddin Imavov was, technically proficient and definitely won this fight, but will be torn apart to shreds by Hamzat Chimaev.
I definitely agree with that one. I'm not even worried about going forward with Hamza with Imavov. I think after a slight discussion about it, what I'm most excited for taking away from these two is I want to see Brendan Allen and Kaio match up in the UFC after we've already seen them in the Pit Submission Series and Karate Combat. We need to go ahead and settle who is the man here. So that's just my opinion.
I like it. I mean, there's a story there. I think Karate Combat has a good relationship with the UFC, so they can use that to sell that fight. Go
Well,
for it.
Brendan Allen just lost. He lost Imavov. And it wasn't too terribly whatever you want to say. If Imavov is going to have to wait for Hamzat, I mean, give him the Sean Strickland rematch and call it a day. Hamzat is clearly not booking any fights as of right now, so we're gonna have to see who's fighting. And if Fluffy and RDR, it's already said whoever excites Dana the most out of RDR and Fluffy, or if Imavov gets another fight, then whatever. But I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this was a fight that didn't really have many standout moments. Like you said, it was pretty much one long round with a slight shift in momentum for Kaio in the fourth round, and that was about it. So yeah, I would suspect that Fluffy and RDR is going to be the decider there, and then we just have to see if Hamzat stays healthy and if he actually wants to fight, etc., etc.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, 100%.
Yeah. Shout out to our buddy North here saying that Imavov deserves the title fight, but definitely didn't show anything to give me confidence in him or make the fight even compelling. Yeah, that's basically what we were saying. But as far as deserving the title fight, he's gonna have to wait till after whoever wins the RDR and Fluffy fight.
I'm still standing by it. We're not gonna see Imavov and Hamzat fight.
You
We're
think that
not.
the religion thing's gonna take?
They are brothers. They are not going to fight. I'm just saying. Imavov's talking a big game, but he knows he's not next right now. That's all that I'm saying. So if it comes time for him to be next and Hamzat still has the belt, I just don't think it's going to happen.
Talked about that on the watch along, how annoying that is to me. That we have fighters who take have that one element of their lifestyle that takes so much precedence that it allows their entire career path to be altered, and the organization just can't really do anything about it.
Mhm.
I guess but it's like, you say that, but then the organization keeps, pushing these fighters from this region. So I mean, not that Imavov obviously is not, but you know what I'm saying? Like, the cultural background, so to speak.
Yeah.
They shoot them up, and then now you're in this odd position where you've got two guys who are just going to refuse to fight each other potentially, and you got to figure it out from there.
Dude, I genuinely think that is what is going to happen, but
It
I,
could
I
be.
hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, well, I mean, either way, I think that whoever is going to win the RDR and Fluffy fight is going to be more entertaining than this fight. So I would suspect that it's a non-issue at the moment anyway.
True. Yeah, true.
All right. And all of that being said, that is UFC Fight Night Imavov versus Borralho. After talking it through, Chase, what'd you think?
I mean, we had a lot more to say than I figured we would. I mean, we low key had a good little ramble about it. I mean, this was a fun card, like you said, historic numbers on the finishes, and hey, I don't know. I mean, France they defeated the Fighting Nerds. I mean, what else can you say?
Yeah, we're gonna have to see if Jean Silva can keep the torch alive for these fighting nerds coming up on Noche UFC, which is our next card that we have coming up. Noche UFC, Lopes versus Silva this weekend here. Yeah, it was an unfortunate deal for the nerds. It was a great card overall, a lot of great finishes, and a very fun one in Paris. And yeah, I enjoyed it very much. So moving on to this week's card, Noche UFC, Lopes versus Silva. Diego Lopes, Jean Silva in the main event. What do you think?
I think this is going to be a banger. I mean, I'm very confident that Diego Lopes is going to be the man to get this one done. Jean Silva is a part of a team that is clearly feeble when it comes to emotions, and he's going to come in here. We've already seen this dude cry on his walkouts. I think he's going to be folding just like the other ones.
Well, this is where we will differ early then, because I believe that John Silva has shown a different level of tenacity than all of the fighting nerds at this point, with maybe the exception of Carlos Prates to an extent. But I think that John Silva has a different set of dynamics to him than anyone else on the team. He was always the one that I thought had the most potential for great success. And what we've seen out of Diego is that he is a game fighter who can go for a long time, but he will gas. And I think that this is going to be a big test of Silva's gas tank here. If he can weather the early storm, we know that he can hold his own on the ground now. That was something that we learned in the Bryce Mitchell fight. So I think that there is some real good potential for Jean Silva to win this fight. Obviously, I'm a huge Diego Lopes fan, so it hurts to side against my guy, but I will take Jean Silva on this fight.
Everybody that John Silva has fought on the feet has acted like a coward and has backed up. Diego Lopes does not cower. He is going to walk forward and put striking on John Silva. I mean, there's a reason that what's his name, the Kevin Vallejos is the only dude to go to decision with John Silva in recent history. It's because he doesn't fucking back down. He walks in with heavy strikes and he puts power on John Silva that gets him on the back foot. I think Diego Lopes is going to have no problem with this. He will walk in with a guard high and ready to take shots. I mean, what is Jean Silva really going to do when he has somebody that's not a fucking bum striking with him? Bryce Mitchell, when it comes to striking, I mean, heaven forbid. I mean, we know he's not the greatest. Okay, striking with a bum. Then you have that other fucking guy who's the kickboxing, the whatever champion that dude was who got literally destroyed on the feet because he's just prancing around in front of Jean Silva. That's just not what Diego's going to do. I mean, listen, Diego may not have been born in Mexico, but he does have the Mexican fighting style, and he definitely wears it with good honor.
Yeah, no, I agree with all of that. I think Diego is going to do all of those things. I just think that John Silva is also a tough guy. He's got a screw loose, and I think that he's going to be able to weather that storm. And again, I think it's going to be a bit of a war of attrition early on in this fight. I think it's going to be a lot of heavy slugging early, and then it's just going to be a matter of who wants it more a little bit later on down the line.
This is a man who was 2-2 going into the fifth round against Alexander Volkanovski. So just remember that when you're going into a 5-round fight night event against somebody who has not seen 5 rounds yet. I mean, that's all that I'm saying here. Diego is more equipped than I think people are giving him credit for. You talked about his gas tank, but it clearly wasn't a factor. I mean, he was able to battle all the way until the fifth and make it close. I mean, it was really up until a couple sequences in that matchup that kept Diego from having the belt, in my opinion. And I genuinely think John Silva is not gonna. I don't know, man. Diego's got that dog. Like he really always has just had that dog in him.
True. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm a huge fan, man. I would be happy if he does win. I'm not going to, I definitely don't want to see him lose. I just, what I've seen out of Jean Silva is just a very tenacious style that it just doesn't allow for, like, it's one of those things that he, like, just in his own mind will not allow himself to get overwhelmed. And I think that
Mhm.
that's what Diego Lopes does really well. I mean, that's what happened to Sadiq Youssef. I mean, granted, obviously apples and oranges, but I like that type of thing. I could never see John Silva having that happen to him just yet anyway. Show me that it'll happen and I'll be okay with it. But as of right now, I'm going to say that this is the guy who keeps the fighting nerds torch lit.
We'll see.
All right. Well, then, everybody out there, as you know, we are streaming on our individual channels. You like the stream that you think has the better takes. Myself at youtube.com/@Yamas Show and Chase at CP Smalls.
Hell yeah.
All right, moving on down the line. Co-main event is Rob Font versus David Martinez. David Martinez, of course, a newcomer, but a tough customer. Rob Font, a dude who has already been down that path with Jean Masumoto. What do you think?
This one is speaking to me right now. Rob Font is an older fighter. He's obviously still competing at a level with competition that is higher than he should be. David Martinez is a young, hungry bull. I mean, I think he's going to finish him. And I hate to say that because David Martinez has probably not got the record that you would think holds up for me to say that he finishes. And obviously, Rob Font has never been finished. I don't believe, at least on the feet. Um, I'm going to go ahead and put my chips in Martinez to finish him. It's on short notice too, but.
True. I mean, Rob Font is a guy who has, like I said, already been down that road with Masumoto, though. That doesn't change your opinion at all.
Nah, listen, I'm fading the old guys. I've been saying that we're doing that. You know, the chin is gonna give out sometime, and one of these days, it's gonna be the shot that you don't think. You're gonna be like, dude, David Martinez really hit him with that, and it put him, something like that. So, I think I'm taking David Martinez to knock him out.
Well, I will be the champion of the elderly as always here. I think Rob Font, the experience is going to win out in this one. They finally Vegas is catching up that Rob Font is a tougher customer than the guys that they're throwing at him. I think David Martinez is very talented. I definitely do. I think that he's going to be very good on his feet. His striking's going to be good. I think Rob Font gets his hands on him, tries to get him to the ground a little bit, makes it a clinchy affair, and gets David off of his game. That's going to be the game plan there.
Yeah, I can hear that.
So Rob Font is my choice there. And, if David Martinez wins, this is another one that I will not be mad at in the slightest, though, because I do think that Martinez has a bright future ahead of him, and he's already been doing some good things so far.
True.
All right. Well, down the line here, Rafa Garcia versus Jared Gordon. What do you think?
I think this one, both of these guys are coming off of finishes. Rafa Garcia is the preacher. Am I wrong about that? Or is he a pastor?
That's Jeff Filio.
No, I think this dude's also one.
Oh, he could
Or
be.
a pastor. One of
Could
these.
be.
And
Yeah, maybe I don't. Maybe I'm not remembering that.
anyway, Jared Gordon also coming off of a finish that he literally should not have got. He fucking flatlined a dude, and it was ridiculous. I think people are going to be anticipating a finish in this one, but I think these dudes are just going to grapple, wrestle, and roll around and make it very, very boring. Main card, So,
Who wins though?
uh, Gordon. We'll say Gordon by decision.
There you
Split.
go. That's going for split. You love your split decisions, man. Yeah, no, I'm also going with Jared Gordon. I think that Jared Gordon is a guy that for some reason I don't know how that Paddy Pimblett fight it changed his career trajectory so badly. I mean, it was he was the one that got robbed, so I don't understand why he just dropped off the map so heavily. But Jared Gordon is a winner. He is a fighter who goes out there and puts a lot on the line. He's got a great backstory and all of that. That doesn't matter, but still, it's one of those things that you can have in the back of your mind to root for him for. I like Jared Gordon. I'm a fan, so I'm going with him in this fight.
Yeah, after that last fight, I mean, I think he's just full of fluke fucking plot armor, so I think he's gonna win this one by split.
I mean, I could see that, and yeah, I definitely do agree that it's not going to be a finish. I would say I think Garcia is going to be too tough to be knocked out in this one by Jared Gordon. But crazier things have happened. But I will go with you on that at least.
True.
All right. Hey, God, this fucking guy just never goes away. Kelvin Gastelum versus Dustin Stoltzfus. What are you thinking?
I like Dustin. Dustin's really a Chad. He's a game fighter. He doesn't see decision that often, and he's really ready to go in and slug. And he's got grappling. I mean, he's a grappler at heart, but damn, his striking is really fucking good. He doesn't have the greatest chin, but at this point, Kelvin Gastelum is not able to move his big old flabby arms fast enough to knock him out. So I'm taking Dustin, and I'm taking him by finish. Kelvin Gastelum sees that Paul Craig just retired. He's going to be like, I can do that. I could do that. It's maybe time.
I would be more than happy at this point. I think that this actually is going to be very similar to the last Kelvin Gastelum fight with Joe Pyfer. Honestly, I think that it'll be a lot of
paint drying.
Well, I mean, I think that Stoltzfus would probably make it more entertaining than that aspect of it. But what I think is that it's going to be Stoltzfus keeping enough distance so that Kelvin is not able to get his striking off, and then just kind of dancing around him, picking him apart. That's how I would see it going. I think that Kelvin is always out of shape, even when he makes weight. And he looked terrible in his last fight. I think that he has been on the backslide for a very long time. He can go into retirement with his Hall of Fame fight and take that for the rest of his days, and that'll be about it.
I think what's actually going to happen here is Stolzfus, he's going to see that Kelvin against Joe Pfeiffer was very reluctant to step into the gunfire. Yeah, Pfeiffer wasn't doing anything but throwing a straight right, but he did drop him a couple times. But Kelvin, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe Stolzfus will go for a submission just like Sean Brady got on him. I think that's going to be my plan. Is Dustin is going to grapple, get him to the ground, and it's going to be an easy sub that has Kelvin sitting up and doing the fuck, like, that move. So
True, could be. I'd be okay with that. That sounds plausible to me. Stoltzfus is decently well rounded, and I think he's another fighter that has made improvements because he does have those 7 losses, but I think that he defies that based on the way he's been fighting lately. So,
yeah,
Kelvin Gastelum is he's a long time guy. He's been around for quite some time. He has looked worse and worse as time has gone on, and not better. He's not making any kind of dramatic resurgence improvements or anything like that. This is definitely one that can be a further nail in that coffin.
100%.
All right. Oh God! Again with both these guys, another one that just won't go away. Alexander Hernandez back again on short turnaround, it would seem, versus Diego Fajeda. Hey, this fight is not great.
Alexander Hernandez by unanimous decision. He's gonna grapple the fuck out of this dude.
You
So
know, you don't think he can pull out the knockout that knocked out Mr. Hooper?
no fucking chance. No
Yeah,
fucking chance. He's never even knocked out anybody before Chase Hooper. So I don't know. That's just my opinion.
yeah. Fajeda, he is another NPC of this sport to me. Like he is just a dude that is in there, and I watch his fights, and then I do not, commit anything to memory with him. He does not command presence to me. Does that mean he can beat Alexander Hernandez? I mean, it could. He might. Hernandez is one of those dudes that, again, back and forth, flipping and flopping between wins and losses. But I do know that you're right that he is a guy that ends up sometimes getting wins that you don't anticipate being wins, and sometimes he pulls out performances that you're not anticipating either. So I will tentatively agree with you that Hernandez takes this, but if Fajeda takes, I'm staying away from this fight. I don't like it. I don't care for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I respect that.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, the aforementioned.
Yeah. Kang Bang versus Santiago Luna, newcomer.
Who? Like the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Luna is this guy that Contender series? Where's Luna from?
No, he's 21 years old. No, this dude definitely isn't from Contender Series. I don't believe, at least. He doesn't have a picture, so he must be just found in some uh local league. But Kwang Lee is definitely tough enough. I mean, okay,
Tough
so
enough.
it's something.
And Lights Out, where my buddy Bulletproof Troop is the heavyweight champion. So shout out to Lights Out.
But Kwang Lee, I mean, this dude is a formidable striker, is somebody who's definitely going to stand and bang. I mean, if you pick somebody to fight against a Mexican boxer, potentially, if that's what this dude is, I mean, I would assume they want to give us a firefight. If they're giving Kwang Lee out here, they're not going to give us a grappler with Kwang Lee because that's how good of a striker he is. They know that he makes magic on the feet. So you put him against somebody else out there who's going to fucking dance with him. I mean, it's going to be fireworks. But if you put him against some stupid grappler, I mean, it's like, well, why'd you even do Kwang Lee? Unless he's actually reaching for some level of competition here, don't fucking ruin a good thing while we got it. So give Kwang Lee some young Mexican boxer at 21 and let's let him go at it. I think this is a really good fucking fight here, if that's exactly what it is. If they stand and bang, this will be fucking good. Kwang Lee, though, I'm taking my boy from Vietnam.
Yeah. I'll go with that. I don't really see any. I mean, I don't know Luna enough to have a well-rounded opinion about this one way or another. I know that Kwang Lee is a tough guy who will throw hands, so that's enough for me. I mean, Lee was the one who it took a while for him to get into the organization, right? I mean, he wasn't he the guy that had to kind of fight his way back in, sort of thing.
No, he was on Road to the UFC finale
Ah,
with Zhao Long.
gotcha. Okay. All right. Then yeah, you know what? I mean, off of not really knowing who Santiago Luna is, maybe I'll do some research between now and then and find out. But coming off of promotions that, I mean, Tough Enough not really speaking to me off of regional gravitas. So yeah, I would say that Kwang Lee is the safer bet out of the two of those, although he is the dog. So
Yeah.
we'll see about that. All right. Oh god,
Speaking of the dog,
this card is so ridiculous, man. I mean, it's like tough fight over fight. I hadn't actually looked at this card before we were going over it now, and like, yeah, this is just ridiculous. This card. So yeah, Jose Daniel Medina, everybody's favorite punching bag, is back versus Dushko Todorovic. This fight is going to be a wacky one.
no words to say because obviously the real story is going to happen when the cage closes. I'm taking my boy from Bolivia. Jose Medina is obviously going to come out here and get a W.
Hell no, dude. Todorovic is going to lay hands on this guy time and time again, and Medina is not actually going to swing. I think that he's going to feel some power out of Dushko and never actually throw his hands out there.
Now, I do genuinely think Medina is going to show us something that we've been waiting to see. He's going to submit to Todorovic. There you go. That's what I'm
No
going with.
chance in hell. This is one we divide on heavily, so I am going Todorovic all day long.
All right. Listen, I think this will be good. This is good for us. You know, we gotta be able. Oh, he has 2 subs, by the way. I'm just saying.
Two subs of where and who?
Hey, somewhere in Bolivia, somebody's been submitted by my boy Jose Medina.
Bro is out in the rainforest submitting the woodland creatures.
I mean, that dude's sitting and watching a TV in a bar somewhere saying, "I got submitted by that guy one time." So
Legit, yeah, there is something to be said there. All right, well, I'm going to Todorovic on this fight. Medina is again a very smiley, happy punching bag who's going to be that in this fight.
true.
Claudio Puelles versus Joaquim Silva over here. Joaquim. What do you think?
Yeah. Who cares? Honestly, I mean, these a Peruvian. I'm pretty sure he looks like he's got punched and he's like quit before. I feel like I know who this dude is. I feel like he's got a TKO on his belt that I'm missing here.
He lost on the last Noche, if I'm not mistaken.
Was he on Noche last time? Moreno versus Royval 2, last to Fares Zaim. What the hell? This dude hasn't fought in forever. What the fuck? 2024 February. Oh, brother. Okay,
No, Noche. I thought he was on the last Noche. Am I wrong? Maybe I'm wrong.
No, you're wrong about that.
All right, whatever.
You're taking well, no, you are too. You're taking Joaquim Silva just like me because we're not taking a dude who hasn't fought in over a year. I mean, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, we said that about Dalia, and he came out and smoked our buddy Tybura.
Yeah, but that's a little different. I was fading him because he was like an outsider promotion guy. It's not really the same situation. This is me
True.
fading him in the same way. I think Alejandro Costa on this same card that comes up here soon. He had somebody who took like 2 years off the sport, something like that. But either way,
Fair. Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Yeah, I will also go with Silva on this one too.
this should be the main card.
Yo, yeah, are you crazy? How is this no like not higher on this card? That's insane. Tatiana Suarez versus Amanda Lemos. Good lord, Suarez is going to come out here and wrestle the hell out of Lemos.
I would genuinely hope Suarez is not just washed as fuck, but I mean,
Oh, no way she is. No fucking way. No
I don't
way.
know. I heard she was going to beat Whaley, dude, and that was from you. But
Yeah, that was right. I mean, and Whaley made Lemos look terrible as well, if you recall. So
I mean, I agree, but who's going to look better out of Whaley's daughters? I don't know. I don't know.
Tatiana Suarez is definitely going to. Absolutely, she is.
That's too big of a favorite, I think. But I would tentatively say take the dog on Lemos.
I mean, off of what? Off the striking?
Off the fact that Suarez has already just like not left a good impression for me.
I mean, yeah, okay. To go up and lose to a champion, even if it was a very decisive loss, I mean,
But if you look at the context, Lemos did the same thing, but she's also came back and had some performances that maybe they're like, okay, she's like not out of it. She's still kind of in it to win it kind of deal, you know?
my man who fades the elderly is going to be taking this 38-year-old woman. Now, I am the guy who says that it doesn't matter as much with women. But
You're
I mean,
right. You're right.
That's often what the case when it comes to the grappling, though, is why that is usually the case. And Suarez, I mean, she's about as good as you would get aside from a champion.
I hear you. I will tentatively take Lemos.
All right, fair enough. I'm going with Suarez all day. Jesus Aguilar versus Luis Garule. Hey, our buddy Luis Garule back again. I'm glad that they gave him another shot here. But Garule coming off of a loss. Aguilar just okay, not great.
Yeah, Jesus Aguilar lost to my boy Estevan, not Ribovics, Estevam. Shit, he just fought a couple weeks ago. He's boring. It doesn't really matter if you remember him or not.
Yes,
But
no, yeah,
uh,
it's Estevemis's last name.
yes.
Yeah.
So Aguilar lost to him in his last bout. He definitely is somebody who tries to fight all the way to the end. Like he was trying to finish Estevam, which shout out to him. I had Aguilar by finish. I was hoping he'd catch him in a choke because he's one of the kings of gillies. He's got like 3 in the UFC. Same with like Chris Duncan, you know. But Luis Garule is also somebody at the same stature as Jesus Aguilar, 5'4" versus 5'5". Genuinely the short king matchup here. I think Jesus Aguilar is going to get this one done in front of the home crowd. Luis Garule was actually looking really good against Ode Osborne and literally just got caught randomly and just flatlined. But Jesus Aguilar, he's more wild than Ode. Ode's very technical. Ode, he's going to line up that shot when you least expect it, and then he's gonna get you with it, just like he did against Lewis. And then Jesus Aguilar is going to just he's just gonna come at you. He's just gonna do whatever gets the job done, and that's what I really respect about this dude. He always says, God gives his toughest battles to his bravest soldiers, and Jesus Aguilar, man, he knows exactly what's up. He's coming out here for a finish.
I want to believe in Garule on this one. I thought that he showed some pretty good acumen on the Contender series, and then, like you said, he got caught with a shot by Osborne that took him out. This is going to be very wrestle heavy. There's going to be a lot of grappling in this one. I would say between these two, they're both grapple heavy guys. So I'm tentatively going to take Garule, but I'm not super confident in it.
Yeah, I can hear that.
I mean, it's only because he's in a position now. If he loses this fight, then he's really going to be on the chopping block, and I don't know if he's going to get another shot at the UFC if this is the case. So I think that he's going to be hungry for the win, and I think maybe that'll carry him through, and hopefully his technicality will follow with that.
We can hope.
Yeah, it's wishful thinking, but I wouldn't be surprised if he loses, but I will tentatively take him.
Hell yeah.
All right, Zachary Reese, your favorite versus Cedricus Dumas. This is a good matchup of two bummy dudes.
The Savage versus the Felon. Love
it. What do you think?
I'm gonna take Zachary Reese for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Cedricus Dumas has so much going on outside the cage, none of which is positive. He looked atrocious in his last fight. I mean, it was a standout negative performance for him. Zachary Reese, he's had his ups, he's had his downs. I think that
mostly downs.
Yeah. I mean, he's only 9-2 though, so it's kind of crazy to think that. But I mean, yeah, he's just a dude who he really needs to prove himself and get himself on the right side so that we're not talking about him this way. And Cedricus Dumas is a guy that he should be able to do that against. I mean, Cedricus is only 10-3, but I'm telling you that last performance was just it was a standout poor performance.
Yeah, this one will be interesting because it is the battle of the low IQs, and we'll definitely see what happens here.
Yeah, I will also go with Zachary Reese on this one.
Hell yeah.
All right, Alessandro Costa versus Alden Correa. Another guy with no picture who I do not recognize.
This one I'm not too sure about. I mean, we'll see if Alejandro is going to grapple, but if he does, I could care less, to be honest. I mean, we'll just see what Alden's made of. If Alden is good, I mean, 5'8" versus 5'4", he might be a tall, lanky striker, and he might just put the work on him. Who knows? But genuinely speaking, the UFC knows what the fuck they're doing. They are not gonna match up some absolute killer with Costa here. So it's just going to be an even matchup where it's the third fight on the card where you're going to be getting a hot dog while it's playing. So
fair. I'll go with Costa off of that assessment, not knowing Alden Correa, but it is crazy to me that we have fighters coming in off the Contender series that, it takes some, we were talking about, some get quick turnaround and others do not. And then we get random people just kind of getting, working their way in otherwise.
Yeah, whatever.
Couldn't have found me a flyweight. None of those guys from Tough. Was he not a tough guy? Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, but yeah, I'll go with Costa. We'll see if Alden Correa makes some big splash in his
Yeah,
debut.
where's Where's Emmanuel? Like, where's he
Yeah,
at?
Imanol, exactly.
Imanol,
Yeah,
that's right. I'm sorry,
yeah, you
Imanol.
know, or or give Alibi his redemption shot. You know.
No, definitely fucking not. He needs to no. Uh,
Yeah, not after that.
Imanol definitely should have fucking got his chance over that dumbass.
True. Well, all right, moving on down here. Montserrat Reardon versus Alice Pereira. No relation to Poatan.
Correct. It is not the same Alice Pereira that is the Karate Combat Women's Strawweight Champion. This is a different one who also has no picture and is most likely going to lose the fight. I don't know. I don't really
19
know.
years old versus a grizzled veteran in Reardon. Yeah, I would say that Montserrat Reardon is going to take this fight. I think that she's, just the technicality is going to be on her side here. It's crazy to me that she's only 6-1 at 36, but older, wiser, takes the fight.
Yeah, dog. I mean, sure. Plus 130, I'll take it.
I don't know why. I mean, this Alice Pereira has had some hype around her.
She's
For some reason.
19 too.
I mean, I guess maybe that's why. I mean, she's got 6 wins at 19, and that's what's creating the hype. Because I've heard the name a whole bunch. Maybe it's the Pereira everybody thought she was related, but is not. So I don't know if that's playing a part. But I have heard the name a whole bunch of times. I do not.
I could see that. I could see people betting. Oh, oh my God! That's literally her. She doesn't have a picture. That's probably why they're doing it. They don't have a picture, so you could coincidentally confuse it to be with Poatan's sister. But whatever.
Yeah, legit. I definitely think that that's got to be at least in part because they're why otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think Reardon's probably your
It's Rendon.
It's but I think it's pronounced Reardon though.
In Mexico? Why is she representing Mexico? Is that wrong?
Yeah. No, Montserrat Reardon. She's Mexican.
Okay, that name doesn't sound Mexican. All right, whatever. Go for
Montserrat.
it. Okay.
Yeah, well, whatever. All right. And speaking of tough, finally we get our finale fight here for the welterweights. This is Rodrigo Ceznando versus Daniil Dunchenko. I had always said that Daniil was my dark horse favorite here. Rodrigo, a really good wrestler, though. What are you thinking?
I always said I thought Rodrigo was going to beat Daniil, and I thought he would have lost him to Matt Dixon. I think Daniil is a little too wild for Rodrigo, and Rodrigo is content with a game plan that will win a fight, but it may not be exciting. Daniil, he thrives on the excitement fight. Like, he has to have a war. He's got to be going crazy for it to be in his favor. Now, once he gets taken down and held down for 2 minutes, is he going to get back up and have the same type of dog fight? I don't know. And he's young. We're still waiting to see learning experiences from Daniil, so we'll see.
I would agree with all of that. I think that Rodrigo probably is the more well-rounded, more technically proficient fighter, but Daniil does bring the fight in. He's definitely a power fighter. Like, he's a dude that really does put a lot of effort in early. He's a guy that has the ability to sway the course of a fight, I would say. But I do think that Rodrigo probably ends up getting his hands on him, and you smother a guy early enough. You take him down, make him get back up, take him down again, kind of thing. If you start repeating that pattern, even the youngest and hungriest guy is going to gas out eventually. So
true.
I think that Rodrigo probably is the safer choice. My heart will be saying Daniil because I am a fan. I think the Ukrainian story and all of that. I ride with Ukraine. I would like him to win, but it would not surprise me if Rodrigo does it. I think he's the safer choice here. That being said, though, we thought that Alibi was a very safe choice, and he completely shit the bed. So perhaps Daniil ends up shocking the world.
We will definitely see. So I'm excited for this. This is a good little card we wrapped up here. What do you think?
I think so too. I mean, it's Noche. They got to put on a good show for us. Of course, for anybody listening, just so you are aware, after this event is the Crawford and Canelo fight. So you can watch this, and I believe that the cards will run concurrently for a little while, and then the main event should be taking place sometime after this card concludes. So this card is a little bit earlier. This starts at 3:00 p.m. for prelims. So, set your watches accordingly for that, and you can watch the boxing thereafter if you so choose. I will be watching both most likely, and you can find me doing that at youtube.com/@YamaShow. Chase, I know that you can tell them where they can find you.
They will catch me on youtube.com/@CPSmalls on Tuesdays when there's Contender Series, most Friday mornings when there is one, and of course on UFC Saturdays you will find me doing live streams. It's awesome.
There you go. At Yama Show on Twitter and Instagram as well. Myself and Chase are just finishing up our watches of the movie Bruised, so we will hopefully be doing the our live review of that sometime this week. We'll let you know on Twitter and Instagram the start time for that when we have firmed up the time for it. Go and watch Bruised on Netflix if you want to get caught up before the review.
Yeah,
Until
absolutely.
Yeah. And until then, have a great rest of your night and a great rest of your week. And as always, everybody, fight on.